Wembley! Wembley! Wembley, Wembley, Wembley. Here we come. I think that was Stan heckling in the background. No, wasn't Stan. Was it Tony?
Wasn't me.
Tony just got in at the last second. Tony just got in at the last second. All right.
Just like Star Wars, I just got out of a compactor, just barely. Indiana Jones and the spikes.
The Ginge survives one more time. The Ginge is alive. All right, listen, I'll take this banner off. We'll put that on the end. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is the start of the show. This is the Thursday Night Forum. This is Arsenal Fan Circle. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome here, and let's get it started. Stan, how has your week been, and how has your Arsenal week been?
Good evening, Ray. Good evening, Tony. Good to be here. Those of you that are joining us in the chat box as well, BX Gunners working the door. Noe, welcome. Hopefully a few more coming in. And to those of you listening back on replay, what is there not to like about this week? I mean, it's not every week that your team books its place in a cup final. You know, for us, it's not even every season, right? So, you know, what a way to sort of like get into the early part of the week on a Tuesday. You know, and for me, it worked out quite well because we got like a short 24-hour notice from our building manager that there needs to be some service checks or whatever. So one of us had to impromptu take the day off, which I got. I was like, oh, I can have a day off work and I can watch the game, right? And it's all legit. So
stars aligning. The stars aligning.
Exactly. You know, so I made sure that the fridge had a few beers in, sat around waiting for the service engineer, and I watched the game. And, you know, it was good to be able to see the full game because usually at that time, you know, I have to wait till I get home and it's like compacted highlights. So it was good to go on that ride and be able to watch that semi-final second leg. And then obviously, you know, the pleasure and euphoria of actually seeing that we're in a final, which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is why we play the game, right?
Yeah, this is. I mean,
watch the game.
And it's kind of like we like to talk about Arsenal. We like to do podcasts at times. Last season was a little bit depressing. I'm not going to lie, but when the team is on a good roll, and we want to be there. We want to be there when the trophies start coming into the cabinet, and celebrating, documenting them. This is one step further. Welcome, BX Gunner, and Noe Donis is in the house as well. It's always good to see Noe dropping in once in a while. We see him. The quadruple is on. Listen, we can talk about the quadruple. And for me, I think we all might recognize we're not going to win all four competitions, but let's maintain a healthy interest in all four of them as far as we can and as long as we can. I think we'll come up against a tricky team or a tricky FA Cup tie, you know, when we're just our resources are stretched a little bit with the knockout stages of the Champions League or the Premier League. So yeah, there are some misfits in the house as well. Hey everyone. Yeah, listen, come on in and enjoy the feeling of the Arsenal going to Wembley. Tony, what have you got for us this week? Arsenal and Tony related.
Tony related. Tuesday went to a neurologist, so didn't have much time. Yesterday went to get some braces. This one I need to put some fit.
I thought you meant teeth. Braces for your teeth.
I need to put some fins on it, so I look like it looked like Batman if I had some fins sticking out of it.
It does actually.
Yeah.
It does have that, yeah.
Batman.
The power of Tony.
League of Shadows look to it.
Leather. Leather, Tony.
I was happy for us on the weekend getting the points, even though we destroyed poor Tom's team.
Yeah.
But
listen. What do we
but
want to talk?
I know I'm gonna be the odd one out on the cup. I can care less about
Like
the
that?
League
You
Cup.
like to be the odd one out?
I can care less about it. I want the Premier League. I want the Champions League. This is why all the fans wanted rid of Wenger. It wasn't to win the fucking League Cup where you play 4 games. You literally what is it? Four games or is it 5 games you have to win that trophy?
Yeah. For the
It's
FA
not
Cup, I
much.
think it's like 5 or 6 games for the FA
No,
Cup.
but the League Cup it's shorter. It's
Yeah, it's well, you got two. You got 2 games. All right, so quarterfinal. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to win six games, and the semifinals got two games in it. So it's shorter amount of rounds. You could say about 5 rounds. You know.
Just on that note, I do think you could make the semi-final just one leg.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
understand. Like when you get to a semi-final, why do you need 2 bites of the apple? It's either win or go home. That's as simple as that. Win or go home.
just be like me. Be single-legged. Everybody be happy.
Make it a one peg, right?
Yep.
Make it a one peg semifinal.
I mean, obviously, it's all about revenue and stuff, but really, I mean, just make it have more jeopardy about it. You got to go there with your best game in the semi-final, or you don't go any further in the round.
Yeah.
You don't go to the next stage. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so what do we want to talk about first? We want to talk about getting to the final, or you want to talk about another step in the Premier League?
Well, we haven't. There's been a couple of games since we were last here, right? We got the Leeds game,
Leeds game, yeah.
and then we've got
League.
and then we've got the Champions League. So just to go back to the league with Leeds.
Yeah. 4-0 win. 4-0 win at Ellen Road. When last we were speaking last Thursday night, we talked about, I think I mentioned anyway, that we're going to need to have a convincing performance. One of those title-winning performances that at the end of the season, if you do win the Premier League, you can look back and you say, okay, we squeaked some games here and there that were vital points, but we had a couple of performances that were what you would call a title-winning performance.
Away from home.
At a tough place to play. I think Leeds had only lost 2 games at home all season.
Yeah, I mean, even though they're a team that have just recently come up, they've been given a good account of themselves. So when I've been watching Match of the Day and so forth, they haven't been sort of like just coming up and then automatically languishing in the relegation zone. They look to be giving teams games, right?
Yes. So Leeds are a decent effort. I think they beat Chelsea there. They drew 3-3 with Liverpool, and so it's a tough place to go to. Tony, what did you think of the performance up there at Allen Road the weekend?
It's kind of a football you want to see that we haven't seen, and
yeah.
And the deal, it was nice. We got to see a 4-2-1-3 with Havertz behind Bucharest.
Yeah.
Someone who.
And guess what? It works.
Sounds like someone's hoovering.
Yeah, is that you, Tony?
It's not me. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So I have the team here, and Kai Havertz was playing behind Gyökeres, Trossard, and Madueke. The big news at the beginning of the game was Bukayo Saka having a slight strain in the warm up and not being able to go. So Madueke was called upon to come in and play, and he
had a worrying trend that keeps happening more and more.
Yeah, to our players in general, or just or Saka in particular.
to our players in general, it's
Yeah.
like these muscle injuries during warm up or during training.
Do we put it down to the schedule being a lot of games?
I don't think so, because it happened when we weren't going in all the competitions, when we were finishing like fifth. We were still having these muscle injuries, and
Yeah.
they really accelerated the last couple of years. And a lot of it is when guys don't get breaks. But I mean, as soon as they're back, they're back in the team. There are a lot of those they don't go to non-contact training, then go to contact training. A lot of them
But
go
you know,
straight to contact.
you don't know what they do.
We see videos all the time, Stan.
Yeah, they don't show everything, do they? And they probably go,
They're,
right,
they're,
lads, we're going to do a bit of filming, and they just probably do. You don't know.
they're a
Yeah,
little
but
bit strategic
the
videos.
team does a weekly injury thing, and it will say, it lets you know.
Do me a favour, Tony. Just mute your mic a second.
Is it me?
Mute yours a second.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
This is a test.
Yeah,
Fix this shit, Ray.
yeah.
I think I need some can. Need a little bit of canned air. I don't have that right now for the old PC here. You know what I mean? It's huffing right now. It's puffing. Yeah. I think the one thing that is insulating us from these injuries a little bit, Stan, is the squad that we do have, right? So, as Tony said, because Saka can be an injury in warm up, we're not risking him in the game. We're not risking him in physical Premier League action, and we're able to bring a player in like Madueke. We've done it several times where now Saka could come back in a week rather than being out for 6 weeks.
To me, it's like in the League Cup, I would have played Norgard and rested Rice since he
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah,
gotten a rest. I mean, that's kind of what that's for. It's for your squad players to kind of get flowing, get more games in their belt.
yeah. What do you think, Stan?
I mean, we paid quite a lot of money for that backup. To be fair, we paid 50
50.
million.
Yeah.
It's weird how little he's played.
Saka's backup.
I
I don't know. I think I've seen more of a willingness this season from Mikel Arteta to give Saka rest during games.
No, I was
What I've
talking
seen
about
in the past.
I was talking about Norgard.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about Madueke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think,
Saka.
yeah, it's quite an expensive, backup, and he doesn't look shy to use him, and he's kind of like a little pet project of mine now, Madueke, because he's quite young, right? Would he 22?
Yeah.
But he's quite young.
22, 23. Yeah.
And he seems to have so much about his game. He has the willingness to take on a player, and he'll try and do it on the outside or the inside. He's not stuck to one kind of pattern of trying to go around a player, which I like to see. And a lot of the time, he's able to get past his player. Now, the problem comes is when he gets into that next phase of the attack and he's got a quick decision to make. Is he going to take a shot or is he going to pass it? And if he's going to take a shot, is he going to get it on at least on target? That's where there needs to be a little bit more work, I think. Because if he was able to sharpen that part of his game, he'd be quite a dangerous player, and that would really elevate his profile. So I'm looking to see, you've got Mikel Arteta, who's famed for trying to improve players. Raheem Sterling, for whatever it's worth, said, when he was doing well in interviews, that a lot of that was when Mikel Arteta was coaching him when he was at Man City, right? And those interviews from Man City. So I'm interested to see if a player like Madueke can improve that part of his game, because he seems to have everything else. He's quick, and as I say, he can get past a player. He's got very tricky feet. There's been times when he's been at the byline in the box and he's got players around him and he's used, quite tricky feet to get himself out of danger. If he can just get that last bit really sharpened, and at 22, why shouldn't he? If it comes with hard work, practice, and coaching, he could become quite a player.
Yeah, but he'll definitely need more first team football, and I think he'll get a lot better. That'll be one of those sneaky signings that ends up being a great signing, because he's definitely with talent's there, but the skill there. It just you have to do it
He's
over
got the
time.
he's got the talent, he's got the skill, he's got the directness, which is something we appreciated this season, because some of our players, Saka particularly, would always check back and come back into midfield or come back toward Odegaard rather than being direct. Madueke is the type of player who's going to always try to get to the byline and always try to get the ball into the box.
I mean, he's at that age, hasn't he, where he can still, learn and get better. He's got that on his side, so it's going to be interesting to see how that does improve.
And he doesn't do what Saka does. He doesn't go there and stand by the flag before he does his crosses in there. I mean, Saka, he gets so far away from goal. It's like you're supposed to go towards the goal.
Yeah.
Like with Death Star, you sneak your way through there.
Yeah.
Get up through the bench and the fucker goes kablooey, right?
Listen, we knew Tony that this was an important game because of the points we had dropped. We lost to Manchester United. That's right. We lost to Manchester United on the Sunday before. We had drawn 2 games previous to that, so 2 points from 9. Notwithstanding the falterings of everyone else in the top part of the league, we needed to grab 3 points at Allen Road. So there was a modicum of pressure on the team, and it was settled after about 27 minutes when, mentioning Madueke, the ball was recycled to Madueke, and he put in a beautiful cross. And who's there but Zubimendi is there to head the ball in, and Arsenal are on their way at this point in time. And shout out to Gary, who's listening to us in the car. Is he being chauffeured, Tony, or is he chauffeuring?
I think he's chauffeuring.
He's chauffeuring. Is he gesturing? The way he was gesturing a few years ago at the other cars.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's got a license to fly a bird.
License to fly. Sunderland will play the same way Leeds did, says BX Gunner. Well, we took care of Leeds, and we look to take care of Sunderland well. It all comes down to his mentality. Talking about Madueke, just talk about the first goal stand. A beautiful cross from Madueke, and Zubimendi gets his head onto the ball, and Arsenal take a 1-0 lead up at Allen Road.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of correct myself a little bit what I was saying about Madueke, because in that game he got an assist, and the goal was credited to him from the corner.
Yes,
but a day later.
So
a day later.
But it's credited. So what? Google the match now. Look at the results, and it will say Madueke, and it will have the minutes that he scored it in. That's what's happening.
No, I was just.
It doesn't say updated a day later.
I mean, that's like
there
was
a funny there, though. There was a funny because he had Trossard with 5 goals.
Yeah. Yes.
And you had Bucharest with 5 goals. Yeah. You had own goal with 5 goals. with top 3 leading scorers for Arsenal. The next day, own goal lost one. So
Don't worry,
that's
Tony.
why I bring it up.
Tony, he'll be back. He starts every game. You know that.
Owen Coyle.
Don't worry about own goal.
We used to have an Irish player called Owen Coyle.
He'd probably get player of the season. He'd probably get voted player of the season.
There used to be a Republic of Ireland international called Owen Coyle. So we'll just call this guy Owen Cole.
Do you know what? If Arsenal had a good sense of humour, when they put out, they do like the player of the season, and they put the list out, for a laugh, they should put own goal.
OG, yeah.
Because it's like laughing at the media and everybody else. Do you know what I mean? It's like we can, and it would be even funnier if own goal won by a landslide.
Yeah. Or own goal comes second to
presentation and everything. They do a presentation and everything, and there's like a player who's got like a black balaclava on, no face, and on the back it says like own goal as the name, accepting the award.
Yeah, Gary, 2 hands on the wheel, Gary. Now, be good now. Drive carefully and drive safely, Gary, and keep listening to Tony. Don't listen to Tony. Keep listening, but don't listen.
Hi, Gary.
But you asked me about hi Gary. You asked me about the first goal, Zubamendi.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of wobbly moments, this season, but he does come up with goals as well. He does chip in with the goals, Martin Zubamendi. I don't know how many he's got this season. Is it 3?
4.
4? Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad. Not a bad return for your holding midfielder, right? Your defensive midfielder. Trivia question. Ray, who was the last Irish player to play for Arsenal? I feel like it had to be Eddie McGoldrick.
Maybe.
Feel like it had to be Eddie McGoldrick. You know what I mean? But I feel like Michael knows the answer. I think Granit Xhaka will be back. But can we put this OG thing to bed? Like, I know it's crap, right? I know it's
really it doesn't bother me.
Huh?
I said it doesn't bother me at all. It's like set pieces, penalties, corners, own goals. These are all tools. These are all part of the game. And as I mentioned, it's not like the own goals are coming because, the opposition goalkeeper kicks the ball out to their central defender, and the central defender just turns around and hammers the ball into the net, and like an own goal.
Yeah.
The own goals are forced because the pressure that we're putting them under. Like there was that own goal where they thought that Gabriel Jesus scored with his head, but he didn't. But he was in there, and it forced the defender to head it into the goal. If you remember, I can't remember what game it was. You remember? Everyone thought that Gabriel Jesus scored, and he was saying like, no.
The Wolves game at home.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that these own goals are because of real forced actions.
Yes.
It's not just like someone's doing a bicycle kick, a defender's bicycle kicking through his own goal, and you're like, what?
And for that case,
and I just think that if we're able to harness that from our set pieces as part of that as well, more play to us.
Yeah. And also
it's like going to ninja school and there's that one guy that nobody likes because he doesn't stealth kill.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to always be a stealth kill, right? You can do other things.
Spencer's in the house as well. Good evening, Spencer. Not Arsenal's fault that teams love putting the ball in their own net against. So scared they are scoring own goals to end the pain of playing Arsenal. And also, it's about the placement. Madueke, first of all, we have teams so scared to address our corner kicks that when Madueke puts the ball just underneath the crossbar, Calvin Lewin is in such a panic he's trying to get there to defend it. When if he leaves that completely to the goalkeeper can deal with that.
If you've got a player that can take a corner and get the ball under the crossbar, I mean, happy days.
It's not an easy thing to combat. It's almost like a free kick without a wall in front of you from a tight angle. You know what I mean?
To
he's
get that
implemented
kind of a bend on it from the corner.
Didn't Saka do that last year?
You know what I
Didn't
mean?
one actually go in there?
I think so as well against maybe Manchester United last year. Yeah, it's an agenda, BX. You're right. I mean, the Arsenal hate out there in the media is very, very real. It's a very real thing, and it's probably a generation ago when what I would say is one of the best Arsenal teams that we're ever likely to see was terrorizing these pundits now that are on TV. You know, the likes of Gary Neville, the likes of Stevie Nicol, Craig, what's his name? Craig from
Burley.
Craig Burley. He's a real pearl, that guy. And Shaka Hislop, another one.
Stuart Robson.
But Stuart Robson, he's supposed to be an Arsenal fan, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you I'm not biased by.
I think Steve
vilifying
Nichol's actually been saying good things about Arsenal on the
Yeah.
ESPN.
But you're forgetting part of the equation there, right? And it is our fans. We've got this little loud minority that loves going to the internet, loves getting on Twitter. And back in like 2014, 15, I would read these articles and I'm like, where is this coming from? Then I finally started getting on Twitter and interacting and seeing what was going on. It's like, oh, that's what they're talking about. Because it is there. I would say we have some of the worst fans in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to say the whole fan base, but
no, I think there's an element of this fan base that can be pretty bad, and I've even seen it on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, that there's a few people who still want to moan, even though Arsenal are 6 points clear now of Man City. We win a game at Ellen Road on the Saturday, and Aston Villa lose.
You can call it Twitter because some of those Epstein stories about Elon.
Yeah.
There's pretty damaging stuff in there. So maybe we'll get sold again.
Yeah, France really did put it on Ireland today. Not a good start for Ireland, these Six Nations. But there is a lot of balance in rugby these days in Six Nations. So we'll see what happens. OG and Set Piece FC sells lots of papers. I like on Coles' weaknesses to the opposition team. Yeah, 2-0 up after, what was it? Just before halftime, Stan, and I think...
I was always pissed off playing FIFA when it would go off the defensive player into a goal. I'm like, that was my goal. It's going straight in.
Yeah.
Defender had to move right into it.
Last cap player was Anthony Stokes, right? I don't remember him. I heard about Anthony Stokes, indeed. Paul Scholes. Stan. Paul Scholes. He's another one. Another lemon.
Yeah, but some of them are just bitter, innit? These are players as well. Some of these are players that it was at a time when we made sure that they didn't have it easy.
Yeah,
that kind of era when it was like the Wenger, Ferguson era, and I think that still runs a little bit deep for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
and now they're having to look. I mean, look. They were the mighty Man United. And when the Alex Ferguson has left, look at the manager merry-go-round that they've had to go through. The rebuilds, the teardowns, the rebuilds, the teardowns. The money that's just been squandered on players that hasn't worked. Players like Anthony. You've got to send them out on loan and try and get some money. You know what I mean? They've tried, when it comes to managers, they've tried everything. International managers, old school managers, younger managers, ex-players. They've gone through the whole range of different kinds of managers, and then you got the turmoil in the background of the ownership and the new guy coming, all of that stuff. Firing tea ladies, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff.
Excuse me.
And then they look over at Arsenal, we just pulled away. You know, we just
And
you know,
their flooding
all the way.
stadium. Don't forget their stadium ready to fall apart because of a rain.
But I'm just saying that, you know, if you know, we've got a good chance now of, if we're after a player, you know, we can keep Man United out of that race for that player because we've got more to offer. We're in a high standing. You know, there's stability at the club. You know, we've had the same manager now for a number of years, and there's some stability. And you know, you've only got to look at the credentials of how we've progressed year upon year. No more than in Europe, which we're going to come to. But you know, we're a good prospect, and so they're jealous. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, they've got eyes, and they can see what the eye test tells them, that this Arsenal team.
They wish it was them.
This Arsenal team's got
they want to
something
be
about
fighting
them.
for the league.
Yeah. And they're looking at a Manchester United team that, you know, may be resurgent right now with these 3 wins under Michael Carrick. But
When was the last time Manchester United finished second in the league?
I think it was 3 or 4 years ago under Solskjaer. You know what I mean? But yeah, we'll see where there's an interesting fight developing behind us.
What they finish second, third, and second with him, and Ray would still give him shit all the time.
Yeah.
You didn't like
There's
Ole for some
an
reason.
interesting fight there with Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea. But we're not interested in that. We're 10, 15 points ahead of all of that. You know what I mean? And on Saturday, Arsenal would go on to secure the full 3 points. Victor Gyökeres, you know, he had a great chance in the second half after 50 minutes. That he really needs to start getting some shots away. You know, okay, he'd go on and score a goal. Fair play to Gyökeres, because he is starting to get some more goals. This is what we want to see. But this one with Trossard, where he helps the ball on, and Gyökeres is about a yard ahead of the defender. Stan, you expect him to get? I expected him to at least get a shot away and work the goalkeeper, but he gets crowded out at the last second.
Yeah, again, for me, this feels like again, you know.
Listen. I mean, we're just highlighting this.
You know, I mean, you know, we haven't got to the next game yet, but I mean, you know, when he got taken off in the next game, up until that point, it was like something like 60 odd minutes, 69 minutes, something like that, 60 minutes, like 10 touches of the ball.
Yeah.
You know?
And by all accounts, we didn't play great football in the second game of the semi-final.
I just think that as we're talking about Victor Gyökeres, it's like the strikers that we had available to us are still with us, right? Havertz and Jesus. Mourinho was kind of like coming to the scene, but they were, you know, and when it was Havertz and Jesus, obviously they decided that there was something in that position that they could improve upon. So they spent the money on Gyökeres, and Gyökeres has had so many games now to separate himself from those other two. And what's actually happened is that we're now going back to that well to draw that water. You know, we're no longer looking at Gyökeres. We're going, oh, what about them two again?
Again, they're from a few different sources.
We've gone back to where we were thinking we could do better there. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So, and you know, there's a lot of talk about Julian Alvarez, and doesn't sound like gossip. It sounds like there have been what they call exploratory talks, which I would imagine is Andre Berta could be a perfect conduit in those talks because he has, you know, history. I think he brought Julian Alvarez to Atletico Madrid. He was behind that, right? So he has channels, so exploratory talks, which then tells me that, you know, if they were totally happy with what they've got, they wouldn't be looking for another player, which is going to cost upward of 80 million.
Wow.
For that position. Do you see?
I also think that we have a little bit of. It was about this time last year, maybe a few weeks before this last year, when Gabriel Jesus did get injured, and Havertz was already injured at that point, or became injured. Then we had to switch to Leicester City away from home with Mikel Merino, and I just think we had a little bit of we're safeguarding against injury. When it was John Duran and Ollie Watkins for
Yeah,
Aston Villa for quite a time, and they were able to switch Watkins for Duran and vice versa, and it worked for them a little bit. So I think we took a little bit out of that playbook and used it.
And like, and I've said this for this will be the third season now. You have to have these $120 million players that are getting benched by $80 million players because you need
Like
that
Enrique?
competition and you need that depth,
Yeah,
and that's where we're getting. You've already almost hauled in 100 million from the Champions League, so I mean. Money's coming in, so you might as well spend it on players
yeah,
to get
and
more in there because Jesus will be gone at the end of the year. He's not going to stay around.
yeah.
You don't know with Havertz. Havertz seems like he's gonna be one of those guys that's
Hammers will
lucky
be
to
here.
start.
Ain't going anywhere.
No, but he's gonna be lucky to be on the field for 20 games. That's his problem.
right now with Kai Havertz, we have a player who it's almost like a new signing. He's fresh. He hasn't
Yeah,
played for
that
half a
was,
season, right? Like it
that was
lands like a new
like a new
signing.
signing. So
But
it is
he's come in.
right. It's been over a year basically. It's been
Yeah,
over a year, right? Since he was, first
and
team football.
he's given us a little bit of impetus. He's able to score
And with
that goal.
Jesus as well. Really, they're both like new signings.
Yep. So the next three goals we're going to talk about for Arsenal, since the halftime at Ellen Road, will be the three remaining strikers at the club, because unfortunately Mikel Merino did pick up a season-ending foot injury as
Yeah,
well.
that's a shame.
Yes. So this was a player that we we would rely upon in.
I think he's a really important player for our team, Mikel Marino.
Yeah. Yeah. He who's and in one area had to go and get some minutes, but you kind of wonder if one area was still at the club. If he would get more of a look in. I know there's players like Trossard, Odegaard, Eze, Declan Rice that can play in Mikel Marino's position, even Kai Havertz. So we are very insulated against a long-term injury like this. Last season, Mikel Marino getting injured like this would be the end of our season, pretty much. But we've been able to add these players like Madueke, Zubimendi, Gyökeres, and Eze this season. So that's been great. Yeah, I tend to agree, Spencer, a little bit more about rotation than selection in mind. Jesus will leave on a free, and his wages could pay for Alvarez. Yeah, 260 bags a week, as Stan would say. It's a lot of money for
So
juice.
and can you? Bucharest had again. He had no preseason. Got injured. He's on 11 goals in all competitions, 6 in the Premier League. I don't think he's doing that bad.
Yeah. Talk about Victor.
And we don't play football that suits him.
Yeah.
Havertz has helped him because he can hold up a ball, then do a through ball that he can run into empty space. That's why you have Trossard out there.
Trossard
He,
always looks for him. You know that?
yep,
Trossard always looks for that link up, and you can see them celebrating. Trossard, when Gyökeres did score at Ellen Road, you could see Trossard and him having, a word together about that. It would be great to have both players. Yeah, Havertz and Victor Gyökeres. I think there's a team where Havertz could play right behind Victor Gyökeres, and we're looking to maybe experiment with that right now. Michael, you're right. We are kind of stacked up the middle. So yeah, Victor
but
Gyökeres.
but that's what we did That's what we did against Leeds. Because there was Bucharest was ahead, and you had Abbott right behind you. And you had a line of
Yeah,
three.
yeah.
Because it was a 4-2-3-1. So
So it
four.
definitely, I mean, the scoreline 4-0 scoreline. So yeah, I had this banner in at the start of the season. Be excited, we are very good. Season 25-26 begins, and tonight I was able to type in Wembley final. We're on the way to Wembley, and Arsenal 4, Leeds United nil at Allen Road. A
Wow.
very important win away from home against. So this is the only way Arsenal can fumble this league is if they mess up away games or lose points to lower teams, and we took care of business because I think there's only something like two teams in the top half of the table that we have to play now. We've done a lot of the heavy lifting so far this season already. So these things are in our favor. We
And a
would
lot of home games.
a lot of home games, and I think there's a stat about where we just have to leave London only twice for the rest of the season. You know, um,
Didn't we have that period last year? Wasn't that 12 out of 13 games? And
yeah,
then
London
how does that
derbies.
happen? That's
A
just
lot of London
insane.
teams. There's a lot of London teams in the Premier League when you think about it. You know,
London is calling.
you got West Ham, you got Fulham, you got the enemy Tottenham. Um, there's more Crystal Palace, Selhurst Park. There's quite
Brentford.
a few games, right?
Yeah.
Brentford.
Brentford's another one. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of London teams in the Premier League. You know, um, so yeah, it might be a help that there's a lot of teams still in Europe. Are you on the Funyuns tonight, Stan?
No, just plain kettle chips.
Spencer said, to me, it is Arsenal versus Arsenal at this point. A 6 point cushion. Time to put in good work. Exactly. And, start gathering the points now. Fulham's another one, Tiger and Gunner said. Okay, so the third goal would be Victor Yogers missed a very
Don't miss
presentable.
Fulham. They're our bogey team forever.
Yeah, Yogers missed a presentable chance, but he was able to get on the score sheet. After 68 minutes. For once, we find Odegaard probing in that inside right channel, and he finds a lovely pass to the right wing. Martinelli gets on the end of it, um, and he's able to put in a really good cross for Victor Gyökeres, and Victor Gyökeres, starting to read the game a little bit that this Arsenal team's playing. Gets on the end of it, a very nice finish.
Yeah, a goal's a goal, and I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah. 3-0 up at Ellen Road, and very very nice goal. Yoker is able to he's able to get something on it. He's able to fight off the defender. So maybe he's
Those
coming to
three
grips
goals
a
there
little
is
bit.
good against Leeds, right?
Yes, you got two in the return game
Yeah.
earlier this season after when we beat them 5-0, and he got a goal here. So 3 goals for the campaign against Leeds United. And the game goes on a little bit, and then right at the end, Gabriel Jesus is able to shuffle his. He does this very well, Gabriel Jesus. He finds a little bit of space amongst defenders, and they're able to get a shot away. 4-0 to Arsenal.
Little bit like Mourinho being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, yeah. A little bit of a Mourinho finish, I would say. Um, Stan, it was very, very easy. Nice game for Arsenal
Yeah.
following
Very
the
much so.
defeat against Manchester United.
Yeah,
It's
very much so.
not only. Go
we
ahead.
weren't licking our wounds. We went away from home. We scored 4 goals, and it was a good spread of goals. So, yeah, a very good way to put the Man United loss in the rear view.
Yeah, very good way to put the Man United loss in the rearview mirror. and put a little bit of pressure on the Manchester City team that we're competing against, and maybe even this Aston Villa team that we are supposed to be competing against. Well, that was the day's work on the Saturday, and the Sunday would come. Aston Villa were up first, and yeah, maybe they were a little bit unlucky, but this is always likely to happen. Um, Brentford team, were they down? They were down a man, but they were down a man. A man was sent off, and you know, Brentford beat Aston Villa at the end. But we really want to get to the Manchester City Tottenham game, right?
Yeah.
Thoughts on that game, Stan? Man City, Tottenham, Man City. It's a tale of two halves, right?
I mean, you just have to say with Man City as well, compared to us, they look to have a lot of better things going on when it comes to going forward in that final third. Some of the passing and the shots that they're able to get away. You know, whether Haaland's in the team or not, because he's been out for the last couple of games, maybe coming off the bench, but he's been going with Marmoush. Marmoush's been scoring. But their problem is when it gets further down with the team. I mean, they're having to keep playing that. Is it O'Reilly in the midfield? And I'm sure he's a defender.
Yeah.
So it just shows you that the shortage of what they've got. But then again, to me, I look at it like, well, that's your own fault. You've already got bags of wingers and you're going by Semenyo. Maybe another defensive midfielder to help out Rodri, who's creaking. Maybe another defensive player. You know, okay, they did go and get Guehi.
And Semenyo.
But they seem to be trying to, you know, they're stacking themselves in certain areas, right? Where you look at other parts of the team and you think, like, maybe you could be doing something there. So, you know, and you know, for Tottenham, just, you know, how does that happen? You know, and the thing is as well, you know, this is not the Man City where a couple of seasons ago, I reckon there were teams that had probably lost the game in the tunnel. They were already writing it off. We ain't going to get nothing out of this one. We need to regroup and get the next game. They just write it. But now teams look at Man City and think we could get something out of this. And that's better for everyone.
Yeah. What is it? The invincible look about them. The sheen has gone off of them a little bit.
You started saying that last year, and it's more so this year.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Haaland's been taken out of the team. He'll be back at some point because he's a quality footballer. We all know that, but it does go to show you that, you know, when they're going back to looking over his legacy, will they talk about this bit where he had like a bit of a down patch and he was taken out for a while? Because that's what's happened, right? The manager's thinking, I need to put someone else in here and take this guy out. And he's been putting in Marmoush. Who's been scoring? You know? So, you know, players sort of like, they go through their little bits and pieces. And maybe we've got a few players yet that have more to come. And I think, what is it?
Yeah.
14 games now? Have we got left?
14 games left, so.
Yeah.
I think he'll be remembered for stuff like
when you think about
100 Premier League games and 110 games.
Goals, yeah, 110. Those are some pretty good statistics right there. We'll talk about the game, but coming out of the game, Pep Guardiola's asked about the gap. Is he concerned about the 6-point gap now that they failed to win Tottenham? And we mentioned 14 games left. Well, he's already two games back, as Stan would say. We're 6 points.
Yeah, we've got. I look at it like we've got 14 games left, but we've already got 2 games in hand. If that makes sense.
So Pep Guardiola said we got 14 games left. You don't have 14 games left, Pep. You got a dozen. You got 12 games left. and 2 more games will get played, and then you really only have 10 games left to close the gap. And when you get down to 10 games left and a few less than that, you're talking about a run in. Very soon, we're going to be involved in the run in. You know what I mean? Which is, for
Which would
me,
involve playing us.
7
The
or 8
running
games
involves,
left.
and the running involves playing us.
Yes. Yes. I think it's 4 or 5 games from the end in April that they play us, And so they've got a lot of work to do.
That game could be so pivotal in a mental aspect of things, how that works out.
Remember last season, right? Last season is the one where Haaland throws the ball at Gabriel. We were 2-1 up in the 96th or 97th minute, and we concede a very, very late goal to draw there. You know what I mean? I don't think we have any mental stigmatism about going to the Etihad anymore and getting a win.
By then as well, by the time that fixture comes round, we would have already have had to play them for a trophy. So there's going to be that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
You know,
you've got very important
for a trophy, right?
Yeah, very, very important
that league game. So, as BX says, right, that's where you lay down your marker.
Yeah. Tony has seen your kettle chips, and he's going to raise you with Doritos.
Wavy Lays.
It's not Doritos, isn't it?
Wavy Lays.
Oh, Wavy Lays. Okay. It's the kettle chips versus Wavy Lays. Whereas 619 says Jesus comes off the bench and presses, then doesn't turn up the next game when he starts. Vicious cycle that won't end, or am I wrong? I just think that we have a lot of players who, on any given day, one or the other can pop up and score a goal.
Well, so just to answer that question, that was it was exactly that why we looked to Havertz.
Right.
And Havertz is kind of a little bit streaky as well, right?
Yeah.
Which is a reason why we decided that there was still something to do in that position, and we brought in Gyökeres.
Cheers, Spencer. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Yeah.
That part of the pitch still is up for grabs.
Yeah. We need an Ian Wright. We need an Ian Wright type of player.
We already got, but remember what we already got. For whatever reason, we thought that's not good enough. We need something else. And then what we brought in, that's something else. Now people are still thinking, well, that's not it. So what happens? Are we going back to one of the ones that weren't good enough, or is something new coming in?
Yeah. You imagine what this team would be like with Ian Wright in his heyday. The rest of the team could defend Ian Wright and score the goals. We'd be unstoppable.
But there's players that have totally let you down, like Saka. His goal tallies.
Yeah. It is frustrating, to say the least. 1 in 12, I think it is. The City just confused where their priorities lie. If they get knocked out UCL early, they're coming for the Premier League throne. You would want them juggling multiple competitions for as long as you do. I think that I've said it before this season, I don't think this City team, you can rely on them to do what they've done in previous years. I think they have a very, very good world-class goalkeeper and a world-class striker. They have some good players around there. Mark Gay is one of them, but Mark Gay can't stop everything that's happening at the back. I think that they've got very, very poor fullbacks. Nunez continues to play as a fullback or a defender, and when he's a midfielder,
Yeah.
It's a little bit of the Granit Xhaka syndrome.
Isn't Gay cup tied as well?
Well, he should be, but I saw something where they're going to try and petition, but they surely can't.
They petitioned, and it was like, no.
They can't. They surely can't do that, Don't call me Shirley, she said. Winning in treble has diluted the hunger for trophies. If City win, the Carabao, they may find that motivation to chase trophies down again.
Exactly.
And that's important, right? And Stan, I
Very
think
important.
you brought up this point as well. And Whereas just brought up the point. This could be first of all, Arsenal players should be the hungry ones here. We're the ones who haven't eaten for a while. We haven't eaten for a long time. So we should
You've
be
got, you've
hungrier.
got a double-decker bus, right? That's just like covered in cobwebs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's been 5 or 6 seasons since we had that FA Cup in 2020. So, yeah, listen, Tony, I get it. We want the Premier League too. We want the Champions League too. Those are the two bright lights. But let's why can't we eat in March when this final is going to be next month?
If
You know?
we go to the cup final, especially because it is against, well, at this moment in time, you would say our number one rival for winning the league,
Yep.
and we really not only lose but fucking well, okay, let's just say lose. I was gonna say but lose badly or whatever, but if we lose, mentally the impact that could have on the rest of the season, right?
Yeah.
Is
Oh yeah.
is immense, because you know what will happen, in the social media world, in
They
the actual red top
even
world, the bottling thing, it will be straight there.
yeah.
And now you've got all of this going on. Whereas if you win that, those pundits that are trying to edge their bets and that, they'll just be like, well, yeah, I mean, Arsenal are going to win it all, aren't they? I know it's all bullshit. That's bullshit as well. But do you know what I mean? You get that, well, who can stop Arsenal? Who can stop them?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's bullshit as well, all that, right? They're just jumping on the bandwagon. But the players have got to hear all that, right?
I think it's absolutely. And I think it's a tough time in the season. When
Big
you're
game.
in the Champions League and you're in the
Game of
Premier
cup
League.
final, because of who
Huh?
it is. And I said it's a big game, this cup final, because who they are the ones that we're trying to keep points ahead of in the league.
Yeah.
And
I think over the last couple of seasons we've struck psychological blows against them. I think this team knows that they can go toe to toe with Man City now with Erling Haaland, even with Erling Haaland, because we got Gabriel Megalegs and we got Saliba, who can pocket Haaland or minimize the damage he's going to do. Our team now knows that they can beat Man City in a final. So it's going to be something now, So right, what phase are we in now? That's what they'll say, right? What phase are we in now? I think we're in the phase now where we got to start winning some of these competitions and bringing some silverware to the table. That's where we are right now. We're
look how long it's taken us to get to our first final. I mean, okay, I still think, that first season of the FA Cup, for me, I look at that as an achievement, with a manager coming in and having to work with a team that he probably looked at and thought that, long term, they might not be in his plans.
Yeah.
And a team that the previous manager started to misfire with, he was somehow able to come in, and in that short space of time, to somehow get them to harmonise, get a tune out of them, and to make them feel proud about winning the FA Cup. And that's why I don't like it when people go, he won the FA Cup, but it was already Emery's team. It was even harder then, no? Because you've got to come in, and if it was Emery's team and everything was hunky-dory, this guy's got to come in and somehow keep everybody's momentum, instead of them all going, we miss Unai. You're not Unai. Unai is this guy. But he managed to get a tune out of them, and that's why I do think that FA Cup is important. But since then, look how long it's taken him to get us to a final. Because you can't win anything until you get to the final. This is the first one since then, right? This is the first one.
And traditionally,
and it's been,
Arsenal.
But I think it's been a long process, right? And it took him a couple of seasons to get us back into the Champions League, because this team wasn't ready. I mean, he won the FA Cup with a team that he probably didn't want. Got a tune out of them, got them to fire again. And then, on top of all of that, he made those really hard decisions about getting out some of the bad eggs that needed to go. That their time of Arsenal was time to go. They were bad eggs. Some of them had cult followings as well, which didn't make it popular.
Yeah.
The decisions that he made.
Yeah.
But he stood by his convictions. And when he got us back into the Champions League, every year thereafter, he's always got a stage further. He's progressed.
Yep. Yep.
Whereas this stage now, in the first 8 games, which is really like the qualifying part, we have a clean sheet. 8 games, 8 wins. Doesn't mean that you're going to win it, but it does a lot for morale. And I just think that to get us to our first cup final now, it's about time. And I think that the Carabao Cup is a competition that it was for a time. Yeah, it is the smaller one revenue-wise out of the 4 cups that are available. Yep. And there was a time where it was a competition where you got to use a lot more youth or, B players, bench players. But you have to admit, over the last couple of seasons, especially in the era of Man City, teams now seem to be fielding their best teams in that competition. Because a lot of teams are thinking maybe this is the only way that we might be able to win some silverware.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You look at the landscape of things, and Arsenal have a healthy lead at the top of the Premier League, 6 points. Man City are chasing. So, a team like Chelsea or Aston Villa traditionally would feel, well, maybe we could grab ourselves the Carabao Cup, which is what happened with a Newcastle team that had Alexander Isak, who was playing really well with them last season. Or, similarly, it could be in the FA Cup, Manchester United, Chelsea, or Aston Villa, because with all the best will in the world, Arteta and Arsenal will be trying to focus primarily on the Premier League and the Champions League. And the cup competitions will be an added bonus. Now, having said that, the Carabao Cup has taken on a huge significance psychologically, as we just mentioned with City.
And for me as well, just so this is just me. Now that we're in the final, I know that Kepa has been, played a lot of those games in this competition. But when you get to the final, there's no time for fucking sentiment and that. You got to win it. You got to play your best players. And Kepa's got to understand that is why you're a number 2. Because if you were a number 1, you wouldn't have played in those previous games, but you'd be playing in the final. But you're not. That's David Raya's job. We can't leave anything undone. There's no no, it's a final. You either win that or you go home. There's no you get a second leg, you can make it up. No, it's 90 minutes, right? So, now that we're in the final, David Raya's got to play because he's our better keeper. It's just the way it is. It means, and because of where we are, where we're doing so well in the 4 competitions that are available, this is the first one. And I think for this team as a whole, if they can get that first one over the line, in that one that's considered the smaller one, even though you're going up against Man City in the final, the biggest other team out there, you win that, then you've got to be looking at yourselves and you've got to be like, now we want the big one.
Yeah.
That was a really nice appetizer. All that is done is made me more hungry. I want the big one.
You look at Man City.
And then before you know where you are, you're winning the league and you're getting yourself into a Champions League final.
Yeah. And you look at Man City.
And who knows what happens in the FA Cup? I've not even mentioned that. That's why this one is so important. But the test is, it's not like we've got that first one and we're going up from a team from the Championship or even from League One. We've got to pass this test now and get over that first hurdle, and we're basically going up against the best other team around. That's where it is. Do you know what I mean?
You have 100%. You have a Manchester City team who, over the last decade, they've not ignored this competition. They've won it 3 or 4 times. I think they beat us 3-0 one time about 6, 7 seasons ago when Arsene Wenger was there, or maybe Unai Emery was there.
And like you said earlier, if they can win that, what does it do for them? Does that give them a second wind in some way, in some form, right?
Yeah.
So
And
I think that the Carabao Cup game, because of the opponents and what we have ahead of us, and how much what we have ahead of us involves Man City, there's got to be a job done in that Carabao Cup. It's got to be done.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to win that game against City. One, because of the silverware alone, we got to bring a trophy home, and the secondary part, like you said, psychological aspect of keeping City down. We have the upper hand over City right now, and keep them down. And the third part will be the confidence, as you said, the confidence from our players getting a trophy. I think there's usually it's great to be in the final, but it's a slight inconvenience in March when you do have a Premier League game. We'll be going after that weekend. We'll be going into games knowing we have a game in hand, somewhere to be played.
Right. I never said it would be easy.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the standard now, and the path that we're setting for ourselves. We're in a final.
With success comes more games, right?
That could be. You know, I mean, we've got ourselves. You know, you got to earn the right to play a final, and we've done that.
Where said you guys have the squad depth eventually to compete in more than one competition. Getting just the Carabao in the cabinet would be supreme failure. Win the Carabao and gun for the Premier League throne. That's the thing that Liverpool didn't do. Liverpool can't walk themselves to a title.
Remember the question that I asked the other week? I said, here's a scenario for you, right? Let's say you get to the end of this league, and you can let me go now again in the chat box. We get to the end of this league, right? You've won the Carabao Cup. Well, I say you, us, we, Arsenal, win the Carabao Cup. They also win the FA Cup. Arsenal finish second in the Premier League by 1 point. And they get to a Champions League final, but they don't win the final.
Yeah.
Would that be, would you, how do you view that as a season? I mean, are you happy with that? Are you proud of that? Is it something to build on? Are you like, no, that's not good enough, get rid of the manager? I mean, think of it, it's a domestic cup double. There's only 4 competitions available.
Yeah.
FA Cup, Carabao Cup, losing the league by 1 point, let's say, get into a Champions League final, losing that. I don't know how we lose it, whether it's penalties, whether we played excellent but lost. I don't know. But I mean, you can't fire a manager for that, surely. And is it arrogant? Is it arrogant to sneeze at a domestic cup double? I mean, there's only not everyone can win them every season. Only one team can win them. How many teams are competing for those cups? Only one can win.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, it would be sad to lose the league by 1 point. I'm not saying I'd be like, la, 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 la. We won to the 2 cup doubles, but it doesn't matter about it. Of course, I would be like fuming. I'd go for all of the different stages of grief by losing the league by 1 point. All the different stages that they have. I would go through all of that. And obviously, very disappointed to get to another Champions League final and not see us win it. But, in reflection, 6 months later, you're looking back, 3 months later, maybe. It might not be what you want, but a domestic cup. I just wonder how people would feel about that.
Yeah, let's see what you're thinking. Losing the league would be demoralizing. So
of course.
Yeah, Stefan Marcotti is here. The guy on the left has a weird accent, which I can't tell if it's American or Irish. I'm Irish, that's for sure. But I've been living here in the States now for a long time, a decent amount of time.
Who's Stefan Marcotti?
somebody who's just joined the
Oh,
chat. So the longer you listen to me, the more you might hear the Irish in me. Uh, Plus, it's getting late in the evening here. So lose the Carabao Cup, and your players might feel demoralised to get the job done with Premier League. And by the way,
exactly.
Stefan, thanks for
It's
joining us.
such a hurdle. It's such a hurdle. I mean, we all want to be in a cup final, but we're so close to other things as well. It's just that it's not like we're playing a cup final against Blackpool or Cardiff or Swansea or Middlesbrough or Newcastle. It's Man City,
Yeah.
where it's like,
Pep Guardiola.
there's a throne that is vacant at the moment. There's a throne that's ready to be sat on. And Man City have been sitting on that throne for a long time. Think of it as Game of Thrones. They've been sat on the Iron Throne for so long now. Do you know what I mean? But there's another house that's ready. There's another house that's ready to take over.
Yeah.
And to get that house firmly on the Iron Throne. And we're so close.
As Michael says here, I think that we keep being top of the league as psychological +2. So, they're starting to feel the pressure of having to play that second game on the Sunday when we've already banked 3 points and we lead by 7 points on the Sunday. Andy said our subs had run on the pitch before Havertz had scored. If the ref saw it, sour grapes. He would have been right to stop the game and disallow the Havertz goal immediately, book both Calafiori and Skelly, and send them to London jail as well. To be.
Oh yeah, Calafiori set off, man. He set off really early. Did you see him? He was just like he set off and was celebrating before Havertz.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'm being harsh as we're with expectations for your club, but surely being on 50 million a season, your fan base expect more than just one purple patch season and nothing much else. So look at it. Look at it this way: we have been consistently building. We haven't just come up out of the blue to challenge Liverpool and Man City at the top of the table. We've been consistently building. We might have had an injury hit season last season, but we've been pretty much improving each and every season in terms of not only the points that we've gained, Stan, over those seasons, but let's look at the Champions League. We've been improving in the Champions League.
I would also go as far as to say, right, if it's that easy to finish second every season in the Premier League, why aren't your team or any other team doing it?
Yeah.
It's that easy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not.
We've had to go up against Man City, right? Everyone's had to go up against Man City. Do you know what I mean? And the massive investment that they've had. And sometimes we've managed to finish 1 point behind them, which we did, right? Other seasons we finished more than several points behind them. But the point is, we're always trying to catch that team. But we've at least, you know what I mean? Other than that, no one else is finishing above us. We finished third that one season. But out of the last 5 seasons, we've finished fourth, right? Second 4 times. So,
yeah.
And we're trying to build on that. And it looks, so far this year, that lessons have been learned. And that, we might be able to get that last little bit going.
Yep. Where it says, if my club spend $1 billion, just live off Conference League and nothing else, there needs to be an expectation of reaching cup finals regularly. Winning it is another matter altogether. Arsene Wenger said he could never guarantee winning trophies, but if he could guarantee that we would compete each and every season. And, you sell out your stall every season to get the finals and get to the end game of the Premier League season. Kepa will play, not Raya. It's not good to use players to get to the final and then ditch them for the big game at the end. It damages.
I don't understand. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point you have to be ruthless. At some point, and I would consider Raya for the City game no doubt about it, because as Stan rightly says, they are the next team behind us. If we were playing a Chelsea or an Aston Villa, I think Kepa might be a decent goalkeeper. But because it's Manchester City and because it's Haaland and Turkey and Phil Foden and these
You think
types of
Man City are
players,
going to play Trafford or Panorama?
I think they're going to play Donnarumma, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, Emery played Czech in the Europa Cup final instead of Leno when Leno was a better player, in my opinion. All right. You should not want Kepa to start the Carabao final because there's a possibility he goes down to penalties and Arteta brings Raya on a repeat of the Sarri and Kepa incident.
Yeah.
That would be box office
Yeah.
if that happened, right? But I don't see
I'm not. Listen, I'm not
Kepa
coming
saying,
off.
"I'm okay,
I'm not coming off, mate. It's not
I'm
happening.
okay." Mikel, I'm good. Let me stay on, Mikel.
And it's the way that Sarri looked around at the other guys on his bench, he's coaching people, and he's said to say, like, well, now what? The fuck? It doesn't want to come off.
Yeah. Losing the league would be demoralizing, and just catching up on the comments here. Only the league matters, says Stefan Marcotti. Where I said I feel Havertz has grown into the Arsenal DNA. Patience
Isn't that
paid
the
off.
name of the guy on ESPN?
Yeah.
No, that's Gabriel Marcotti. There's a
Oh,
Marcotti.
we start talking about the ESPN people, and then we get rated by them. Let's say we misused him, forcing him to perform like a nine with Lukaku. Get the goal scoring burden off him, and you will have him being impactful. Yeah. On the flip side, says Michael, on the flip side, we are so confident
I'll be
the
right back.
Carabao Cup is a trophy win. It could be huge. Tony's left us for a bit as well. Um, he got a lot of talking in early doors, Tony did. He must have known he was going to leave us. He's got to check on the basement, I think. You know what I mean? We have to be careful, guys. If we do that in the Champions League, we may get goals disallowed. Yeah, but I think it was. So picture this and Andy Braithwaite, 118. It's the last few minutes of the game. It's 97 minutes and Arsenal breaking away, and they're about to seal the deal. They could take a 0-0 draw. You could have went to the corner, but you finish the game off, and you win 1-0. There's no room for error. Every Premier League from here on in needs to be cup finals. Drop points in 3 more games, and the Blue Sharks of City are not what you want to be the chasing pack. True. You don't want them to be chasing, but I also feel confident that we can keep them at arm's length. We're, you know, uh, who can't beat a crap Tottenham team? This ain't the same City. The defense is crap. Agree with you. Definitely agree with you. We will have to go to Tottenham. We will have to go away to Tottenham, and it's going to be a derby game. So I imagine it's going to be not as easy and clear cut as we might think it should be. Um, BX said if this season was a boxing match, beating City in the final will be the first knockdown. Then if we beat them in fixture, that's the second knockdown. Winning the league is the KO. Yeah, and we could send Pep Guardiola packing. It's very possible. Last time we played City at Wembley, we beat them on penalties in the Community Shield, and City have lost the last 2 FA Cups at Wembley to Palace last season and United the year before. So yeah, you're saying there's a chance. Having you drop points to teams who you should be overcoming easily, Sunderland and Forest, suddenly forgotten. The team who shouldn't be having off days are you guys. Let's be real. Listen, I already talked about dropping points at Forest and dropping points at Liverpool before we lost to Manchester United. There's swings and roundabouts in this Premier League. I think there's a lot of parity. I think there's a lot of teams that have the ability to upset you any one day of the week. And Sunderland did that to us in November, I think it was. Um, Man City have had a torrid time. They've drawn 3 games, lost 2, drawn 4 games and lost 1, I think, in the last 5 or 6. So they're on a bad run. Um,
I say this: if you look at the 14 games that are left,
yeah,
which team do you think will lose the most games, Arsenal or Man City?
yeah,
And for me, from what I've seen this season specifically, I'd have to say Man City to me look more vulnerable at losing games.
vulnerable. Yeah,
I'm not saying that
that's
we won't lose. We won't lose any more. I'm not saying that, but I don't. I think City will lose more than we will, and we're already 2 games in hand with 6 points.
I
So
agree with you. Vulnerable and shaky at the back makes a bad combination. You have a Rodri who's come back and he's not quite the Rodri of old as well. DX said, with a 6 point gap, we most certainly can't let up or risk being caught. And we'll talk about the weekend's fixtures coming up as well, which look on paper they look favorable to us. What's going to happen? We don't know exactly, but it'll be tough. Doesn't matter if it's the last minute or the first. Players, subs, and coaching staff cannot encroach on the field of play. We got away with it. We've been penalized so much over the years.
I was
We
about
need
to say
we need
that.
we need a couple of things that they're going to turn a blind eye to.
I think the wheel has turned in Arsenal's favour. It's like seasons past when it was Man City.
Yep.
Were winning a lot, and they were getting the good calls against them. This would be something that they would get away with, and we'd be going, look, that's an infringement, fucking bastards.
But now they're doing that about us.
Yeah. Now we're getting that little bit of the rub.
They're crying.
Where we're getting away,
Do you know what I think it is,
little
Stan?
things like that. But in saying that, though, I mean, Mikel Arteta did get booked the other day.
He did. Yeah. Do you know what it's all about, though? I feel like if you have a confident squad, a set of players who are confident about and going about their business, right? They don't look stressed out, and they're not going to get themselves pushed into these situations where they're going to get penalized for a lot of things, I feel like City and the other teams are pressing a little bit too much. Like, they're starting to feel before the stress, right? They're getting little beads of sweat on their forehead before they start breaking out. I think that's what's happening anyway. City are being a little bit, the stress points are starting to come. City drop points to Sunderland, Chelsea, and Brighton. Tottenham away. Your points low IQ, mate. Let's keep it respectful anyway. Whatever's the last City performance left me a little concerned. I wouldn't be concerned about them. They can have performances like that Tottenham game all day long. It was brilliant. They're 2-0 up and coasting at halftime. In fact, Turkey should have really centered the ball for Semenyo at the back post. They could have been 3-0 up at halftime. And I don't think Tottenham could have scored 3 goals in that game. But 2 points dropped for City is beautiful to us. You still got to wait. Yeah, we still got business to take care of. We have to go to Brighton. We have to go to City. We have to go to Tottenham. Potential banana skins of Arteta's and planning subs well. But I think what we have been doing is planning our subs well and, using the resources of the squad that we do have. And I think, Stan, you mentioned a bit earlier that, Mikel Arteta is spreading his resources around a little bit. So because Saka pulls up in the warm-up at Ellen Road and has to go off while Madueke comes on, assists the goal to Zubamendi and then scores a direct goal from the corner kick with perfect placement. A postage stamp right underneath the crossbar. The pendulum appears to be swinging our way. Yeah, we were just saying that, BX. But with so much put online in the modern day, the refs wouldn't look for it in the future. Arteta needs to make sure his bench are kept under control. Like I said, I think you'll just see that in the semifinal. You might see that in the semifinal of and it's the context, right? You're scoring a goal in the last minute to go through to the final. Not saying we've won. We're not going to celebrate like we've won it, but we're celebrating like we got to the final. How about that?
Well,
Seemed
yeah,
to
I think, going into the tie, we were already ahead, and it was, I was, but by the time we got to the end, I was thinking, okay, we're going to get into the final, but we kind of saw it out with a 0-0. But right at the very end, we still managed to put that little bit of icing on it and get a goal. And a good goal it was, and I think it was, for me, it just made it a little bit sweeter that it was Kai Havertz, and he was a player that when he was sold to us, a lot of the Chelsea fans were saying, like, good riddance, we're glad we sold him. We can't believe we can't believe that you bought him from us. And there were a lot of Arsenal fans that didn't want him. I don't think it was that they didn't want him because they didn't think he was a good football player. The same with Madueke. I think it was more of why are we giving money to Chelsea? This team's already got loads of money, and why are we taking players that they don't want? I think it's a little bit of that. But good goal by Kai Havertz. And I always, gives it a little bit more sweeter in the story of it that, it was, he was the one that dumped Chelsea out.
Yeah, and
I thought it was a bit weird though, right? Because they're the ones that need to get the goals, and they come with the back five.
Yeah, there's a different. Liam Rosenior took the view that let's keep it tight and try to get a goal and get back in the game, rather than playing like Newcastle against Manchester City, where they went for it and they're 2-0 down after 30 minutes and ties over. So it's a very delicate thing.
But it really didn't matter that Kai scored because 97.
I think
97th minute, 98th minute.
The other thing that this Arsenal team does, it makes the other team be so nervous and respectful of us, and they pay us that respect by changing their own way of playing, their own way of setting up, and they almost lose by doing that. Didn't you say someone lost earlier before it even went out on the field because they look at the team?
Yeah, I was talking about, the Man City a couple of seasons ago,
Right.
the sort of that reputation that they would, if you're a team that's maybe just come up, you're in the lower league of the table, you want to keep out of the relegation, and you're looking on the fixture table and you see that you've got City, but the game after that, City who are at the top of the table, but the week after that is another team that you're battling for those precious points. You might think to yourself, well, I'm not going to really get anything out of this City team, so maybe I can rest this guy and rest that guy because it's gonna count for this. Do you know what I'm getting at? Because City were that good, you're thinking, well, even if I put my best team out, we're going to win. But that next game, that could save my job. That could get us a few points to keep us out of the relegation zone. But now, I just think that a lot of teams now look at City and think, you know what? If we have a go, we might get something out of this. That mystique has already gone now. I think that's gone a little bit because they have had some losses where you would think, oh, I didn't see that coming. And recently as well, they've got Haaland on the bench, which you thought, wow, what happened there? If he's fit, surely that guy plays. But obviously, the manager doesn't think that he's in the right bit of form at the moment. So it's quite different what you're seeing, right? They're playing O'Reilly, who's a defender in the midfield. They've lost Kevin De Bruyne. They've got Rodri's come back, but he doesn't look like, the similar Rodri before that injury.
Yeah.
They've changed their goalkeeper now to Donnarumma, so they have a different style of goalkeeping as well. Because Donnarumma's not really one to play with his feet as much, right? He's a good shot stopper, though.
Yeah. Where I said Rosenior should have gone for it. He planned the game out like the next goal wins it, which wasn't the case. He's ruined my mood.
I did think though when I saw Estevao and Cole Palmer coming off the bench, and I was watching it, I was thinking, oh, this could be danger, because both of those players, they've got enough about them to do something to change a game. Both Estevao and Cole Palmer. So I was like, oh no, here we go. So I was quite glad that we managed to see that out and get a late winner. You can't beat a late winner.
Did we? So I didn't. I wanted to see the game live, but I didn't see it. I saw the highlights then, which was not very much for Arsenal. Did we play badly against Chelsea?
No, I don't think that we played badly. I think that we played in a way where we knew that we were already ahead.
Were we too defensive by only shooting five times?
And I thought that we had a couple, another gear or two from the way that we were playing. And if we needed to, we had another place that we could go to.
Another gear?
Yeah.
Okay.
But were we too defensive and only shooting the ball 5 times?
Sorry, Tony. I thought we were going to see it out 0-0. I thought, okay. Wasn't glamorous, but we did enough. It was up to Chelsea, right? Chelsea have to win or go home. So it's up to them. And they didn't manage to do that. So then to come in with that cheeky goal at the end, I was like, that was worth, watching the whole match through for sort of thing, If you're at the game attending, you're like, and some people might have left a few minutes early because of parking, because they were pissed off, but it's going to end 0-0. I've got to get the kid on the tube, or I've got to get the car, and blah, blah, blah. You stay to the very end, right? You get that little reward, don't you?
Yeah.
People walking outside, all of a sudden you hear this roar coming from inside. They're like, oh, and they're trying to find a TV screen or whatever it might be.
Yeah. We're in a situation where, well, Stefan said we play conservatively. But we're in a situation where maybe we're managing this situation. We're managing the semi-final.
But is that a little too conservative? The 5 goal attempts, that's kind of a little low.
Yeah. We're in a situation where we've beaten Leeds on the Saturday, and we play on the Tuesday, and we know we're leading 3-2. It's kind of a dangerous situation to be in. You're leading 3-2. You have to address the game properly and make sure you don't concede a goal. But you also know you're home if you get a draw. I know it's not the right way to think, but I think professional footballers think this way. And then they save themselves a little bit for the weekend when they're going to be playing Sunderland.
I just don't know in a cup game where it's like, okay, there's it's either this or you go home. I don't know why you would go with the back 5 rather than say, what we're going to do? We're going to go and give it our best game to start off with, right off the blocks.
Yeah.
Our attacking game. And then maybe if we get something out of that, maybe we can consolidate a little bit more and build on that and tone it down a little bit from there. But to go there with a back 5, you're like, well, yeah, okay, fine. You're the one that get the goals, not us. So yeah, fucking have a crack at it. You know what I mean? If you want to play with a back 5.
Andy Braithwaite said they played the game correctly, tied first half, stay in the tie. Where they went wrong was waiting for the 60 minute, then some players and go for it. They should have done that at 45 minutes. Yeah, I mean, a little bit like our own George Graham back in the day, We'll keep it tight up at Anfield. We'll keep it tight. Get in 0-0 at halftime. We might nick a goal early in the second half, and then it's game on. And that's kind of what happened for George Graham on the night, But
I think if you're do or die like that, you just attack like crazy for the first 30 minutes. And a lot of times you get those 5-minute goals, them other teams on their back foot the rest of the match.
Yeah.
Just go there and smack them in the face.
Yeah. BX is usually very truthful here. I thought it was a solid professional outing. We just had to beat them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I had to immediately watch a replay because I was having a neurologist in Oklahoma City, so I got back just in time to rewatch it before the trip.
Yeah. Where I said I wouldn't say you played poorly, but to play full strength against us when you had a bogey team Sunderland 4 days later just didn't make sense to me. I think from a Tuesday to a Saturday, I think is not a bad situation. I think there's plenty of rest there. Four days is 24 hours longer than you normally would get in this situation. You know, could be a Wednesday to Saturday. Um, Chelsea leaving just 30 minutes to break down the best defense in Europe for the last 2 years was where eight got it wrong. They couldn't just start the game going for it, or we could have destroyed them. So yeah, I mean, it always had to be though. The standard always had to be Mikel Arteta, who's been in the job for 6 years, versus Liam Rosignor, who's been in the job for 6 days. It just had to that just had to tell in the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows really much about this guy, Liam Messina, coming from Strasbourg. He just, I don't know anything about the guy. Do you know what I mean? And whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Steph-
You know what I mean?
Stefan reckons if we play like this in Champions League knockout phase, if the tie is close, he reckons Arteta will play that way. I think we have to open it out a little bit, and I think Mikel Arteta talked about that after the Manchester United game, losing. We saw that at Ellen Road. I think this was they call it horses for courses. I think we set our stall out against Chelsea to play a particular way, and we got through the tie. You know, you guys could have played second string and still got the 0-0 you needed to advance. Hindsight aside, Eze and Rice playing the whole 90 could have been subbed off to prep for Sunderland.
Yeah, I didn't like Rice even starting the game.
Yeah. But there he was in the 97 minute, providing the cross for Kai Havertz to get in on goal and score. Man's calling Sunderland our bogey team. Man City fan also drew with Sunderland, and Arsenal always beat Sunderland. Go back, go look at the stats.
How many added minutes were they, Stan?
What's that?
How many added minutes were they?
7, 9, was it something like that?
For what?
Against
For
Chelsea.
against Chelsea, how many minutes?
I think it was
did they
9
play?
minutes.
No, it was
9 minutes
6,
of
wasn't it?
extra time.
Well,
He scored it.
Havertz scored in the 97 minute, and I think he blew the whistle
It
shortly
was supposed to
after.
be 6 minutes, but there was another sort of like a little bit of stoppage in the stoppage time.
Yeah.
When they hold the thing up, I think it was like 6 minutes. I remember literally like counting it down. I was really intense on the TV at that point. I'm like, this is it now.
Sounds like blow the fucking whistle already.
All right, we'll swing back to Sunday with the Tottenham. What about the Scorpion kick goal from Solanke? And right, happy to see that one go in. And Donnarumma just barely unable to keep it out. Tottenham getting a draw. City dropping 2 points in the race. Quite unexpected, Tony, after a halftime scoreline of Man City 2, Tottenham 0. So how did this Man City team let that slip?
They're just, like I said, I think that mystique of them started coming away last year, finishing third like they did. Teams knew they could give them a go, and this year they've been doing it more. I mean, they're always vulnerable, so it gives you a little hope that you can go out there and make a comeback because they've squandered a few leads that they have had, and Spurs went out there and did what they needed to in the second half and gave us a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah. Where I said, Stefan, you failed to be the team this season. They're your team. Let's not act like Sunderland are a pub team.
So I got a very random question for you, Ray.
Shoot.
Are potatoes a brand of crisp, or do you just call potatoes?
No. Potatoes is a brand of crisps.
Are they
Delicious.
good?
Cheese and onion.
I was asking because one of the Irish female wrestlers was talking about she didn't have time to have potatoes while they had an event in Ireland, or her 5 favorite potatoes.
Yeah. As Stefan said, where you want to know what a bogey team is, Tottenham are Manchester's bogey team, not a team you failed to be once at their undefeated home stadium. Bro, you're one joke, man. Don't know about football. Uh, I hope these two know each other. Um, we should have brought on Esteval, Palmer, and Kula from the start of the second half. Brazilian clearly just wanted to stay alive to penalties, playing it safe. Yeah, there was definitely an element of not going to the wind with this, or you know what I mean, and not taking it by storm as well. That's what I said. Leaving 30 minutes to break down Europe's best defense was a bad idea. Chelsea had nothing to lose, mate. You know.
So where are they gonna be next year, Ray?
Tato crisps, indeed. We sell Tato crisps over here in Australia. Tato, cheese and onion Tato crisps. You can't beat them. Tony, what have you got? What question was it?
What the hell was I gonna say? Oh, I was asking you where Spurs are gonna be next year because they're not gonna win anything to get an automatic bid into the Champions League. They were 17th last season, 13th or 14th right now.
I think they're going to have a similar type of season in the bottom half of the table. I really wonder why did Thomas Frank even think going there was gonna make an impact going to that Tottenham team. And listen, I believe they're playing for him. We saw that in this evidence in the second half. But there's something not right.
Is it seen as a step up then to go from Brentford to Tottenham?
It would be. It would be seen that way.
Do you think financially there's more
prestige
level?
Yeah. Maybe prestige. Tottenham still get talked about as being the top 6.
Because he did have it quite comfy at Brentford.
Big 6.
He did have it quite comfy at Brentford. They're not a team that's ever sort of like battling at the relegation end. They're a team that could start maybe getting into maybe that, was it the Europa Conference?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, look at what's happening. You look at some of the teams that are below us, right? The struggle is like, you see some of these teams are almost like feeder clubs, aren't they? Like a Bournemouth or a Brighton, where they have a good player coming through, but they have to go. You can't keep that player and bring 3 more players and build on it. Those players end up going, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just as an example, someone like a Delap, got to go somewhere else now. Semenyo. And look what was happening at Crystal Palace with Mateta. He was going to go off to Italy, right? but then
AC Milan.
medical, and they were going to go and buy Strand Larsen for 48 million from Wolves. I mean,
Did that fall through?
Well, yeah, I don't. I think it did. It fall through because I thought that the Mateta thing was like the domino effect, right? Mateta goes down.
I think the Mateta thing didn't happen, but
Yeah,
the other
I think
player
never
did
happened.
go.
But the Strand Larsen one still was a deal, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
48 million for Strand Larsen. Okay.
Yeah. And where did he go?
The
From
Palace.
Wolves to Palace. That's right. Okay.
They were the ones that I thought that was all contingent on the Mateta thing, so I didn't know about that bit. Okay.
It's crazy. There are only 12 points between 15th place Crystal Palace and 4th place Man United.
But what I was saying is, I like Thomas Frank. When you're out of Brentford, you know that there's like a ceiling, right? Do you know what I mean? Of where you can actually get to, and I was like, and he was doing that ceiling quite well. Brentford. As I say, they're kind of like a mid to upper mid table team. So you go to Tottenham, and it's a whole different ball game, isn't it? I suppose. Apparently, they don't like his style of football, but they knew what his style of football was because you saw it every week at Brentford. So, you know what I mean? Is that his fault? And a lot of people for years were saying that that the problem at Tottenham was Daniel Levy, but it seems like they still have similar problems when it comes to like player wages and things like that, right? They don't pay very high at Tottenham.
Nope.
And
tight checkbook.
I think players are coming out and saying things in the press that you'd rather have conversations behind closed doors. I think Romero's come out and said something. I don't know what it was, but there was before that Van der Ven. And when it's your best players as well, that's not good either, right? It's not like it's some little shit ass who can't get into the team and he can just go, yeah, whatever. But when it's like one of your like main men, it just gives an impression that all is not well, right? But I mean, I think we can all say, before Thomas Frank went to Tottenham, he was one of those managers for, he's all right. Seems like a nice guy, the way he presents himself, the way he talks, blah, blah, blah. Now we can't like him because he's a Tottenham manager. It just that just goes with the territory. You know what I mean? That's what you sign up for. But, they're very quick to make changes at Tottenham, aren't they? But there's a lot of players that have been out injured. And again, it's like, what's his role? Is he a manager? Is he involved in who stays and who gets brought in? Or is he like, we're selling that guy, and we've just bought you this guy. This is what you're working with.
Well, I see you guys that article that was basically how all these teams now are corporations, and they just have coaches. There's just a few really managers and the clubs like they used to be. It's all about business.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at Chelsea, I think he's probably one of the best examples. At Chelsea, you are probably a head coach. If Todd Bowley and whatever decides that this player is going to go on loan or this player needs to be sold, you might be able to sort of you might be in the conversation, but once they're making a decision, not you. And if you turn up one day at training and there's this new player who's turned up, you don't even know who he is, but they've bought him, then that's how it is. This player is now part of your squad. It's very much like that at Chelsea, right? Whereas at Arsenal, the ownership allow Bertrand and Mikel to discuss that and work it out between them. Difference.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a club since Bowley's taken over that's a revolving door like that. It's just so many players in and out. Because at one time they had like 45 or might have been 47 players on their team, and it's just like,
signing 8.5-year contracts.
and they had all these attackers. How many strikers and wingers did they have? They had like 9, 10 of them.
Raheem Sterling just ended his contract with Chelsea. So, you know, he was on like 325 a week, but he wasn't going to play. And he decided he's better off becoming a free agent to get the opportunity to play rather than do a Winston Bogard and just like hang around and collect the dough. So fair play to him.
So is that a World Cup decision thing? You want to get minutes?
Get in the World Cup. I mean, did you not see what he did for Arsenal? Fucking hell. This is way off, mate. Do you know what I mean? Way off.
Yeah.
But at least, you know, he wants to still play and rebuild, which is what, you know, you can't rebuild unless you're playing somewhere, right? And he weren't going to play at Chelsea. And, you know, the 325,000 bags a week notwithstanding. So that's the decision that he's made. And fair play to him, right? He knows where he'll end up, right? You know. I'm pretty sure someone will take a gamble on him.
Hey, never know who.
Free transfer. Pretty sure someone will take a gamble on Raheem Sterling. You know, someone will think that they can get the best out of him. That's what managers want to do, right? I'm pretty sure when Mikel Arteta went to get Raheem Sterling, he thought that he was going to be able to get more out of him than he did.
Yeah.
He proper bigged him up as well. When it was all going through, I can't remember what the words were, but he really bigged it up. And it just sometimes signings don't work. Look at Willian. I think Willian is a good example. Willian at Arsenal didn't really happen, did it? There was like the first game, and it was like, oh, you know, a really good first game, and then a really good last game, and everything in between of that bookend was just. It was like, why is this guy still even playing football, man? He's done at the top level. But then he went to Fulham, and I'd be watching Match of the Day, and the Fulham match would come on, and Willian would just be like, he's still like doing bits. And sometimes it's just about the environment and the personality. And it's obvious that for Willian, the environment at Fulham suits him better. They're able to get the better. They're able to, for whatever reason, the environment gets the best out of him. And I was watching him thinking, he didn't do that for Arsenal.
But
he played like that for Arsenal.
But
so
kudos
it is what it
for
is.
him.
It is what it is.
Kudos for. Go ahead.
You know, different mentalities, different environments suits the condition or whatever, right? So.
Kudos for him though for getting that appearance bonus he did. If he got all his bonuses and stuff, he would have made £31 million that year.
Who?
William. Even though we got him on a free with the signing on bonuses and the appearance bonuses and all that stuff.
Really?
All of it could have totaled 31 million. I don't know what it ended up.
Right, at Fulham?
No, at Arsenal.
At Arsenal, okay.
But that was a ton of money we paid out for him.
Yeah, I don't think he makes a lot of them bonuses. You know what I mean? He didn't really do a lot for us. It was the first game and that last game were just two standouts. Everything in between was really like, oh dear.
I'm like, why do they keep putting him out there? It's just like, why is he on the pitch? You see how crap he was?
Yeah, that wasn't the best of times. But anyway, we are in a cup final. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
You know, that is the most important thing.
So who do you think that go for it more?
What do you mean?
What team do you think's the
favourite?
No. Which one do you think's gonna try harder to win it?
Arsenal and Man City, they're both going to try hard to win. It's a cup final. You know,
who's going to try harder though?
you've just got to do your. It's one of those ones where this is like, for the next 90 minutes. If you're on that starting lineup, you're like, I just got to be at my best for the next 90 minutes.
You
Really got to be at my best.
You don't think one of them's have an eye on either like the league or Champions League?
No, it sets a marker. This one, because of the two teams that are facing each other, the two biggest teams in the Premier League, right? Arsenal, with the reputation that we have in Europe at the moment. You've got Man City, who are kind of like the old king on the throne, but it's not been going too well. We're like the young prince now coming in to try and take the throne, the usurper. So this particular game, you watch, we're going to field our best teams.
Yeah.
We're going to field our best teams.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, there's a trophy. Like I said, the most important thing is the trophy at the end of the day, to represent starting.
It all leads up to being a psychological thing that comes down to that game that we play at the Etihad in the league.
Yeah,
that's the bigger prize. So this game coming up in the Carabao Cup, that's a big tester. That's a big feel out. That's a big It matters. It really matters.
Yeah,
it really matters. Do we want to be running around that Wembley pitch with the cup, or do we want to be there doing that clapping on the side of the guard as they come down with the cup, and we've got to be classy about it and clap on?
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
We'll beat the 115. There you go, Tiger. We'll beat the 115.
That's another thing as well, right? Did you hear in the news today about Leicester?
No. Oh, Leicester. I saw something.
So they've been docked. They've been docked 6 points.
But how long has that been in the works?
Something that happened, I think, in 23, 24. But that's all been done. But again, when it comes to Man City, we're still waiting. For that.
But doesn't that boil down to all those teams kept selling players for like £50 million to balance the books? Yeah, they would sell somebody, then they would buy somebody from the same place. There's like 4 to 6 teams that were just trading players around that keep the books balanced.
Maybe, but what Leicester did was, I think it was a little bit different, where they were charged with something and they were like, well, technically we weren't a Premier League team at the time, or there was some sort of grey area like that. But whatever's happened, it's not gone their way. And they've had, I think it was 6 points. I don't know where I'm getting 6 from. Yeah, they've had 6 points stopped, which I think wherever they were in the league, it does affect them. In order to stay in that league, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't so. This is a team that I still remember in my lifetime watching them win the league. I saw that shit happen. That wasn't like before my time. I remember that
10 years ago now.
Yeah, but we remember all that, right? It's like fucking hell. And we were the team that beat them twice that season. But we didn't win the league.
Yeah. Didn't make us feel any better about the outcome of the Premier League. Beating them twice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
How do you beat a team twice and finish 10 points behind them?
Yeah, we weren't at it. We were just not at it.
Danny Welbeck.
Yeah. Danny Welbeck. It's not keeping the Bucks balanced when a player at mid-table team is wanted by a top 5 team. Player wants to go to chance of trophies.
I mean, you have to look at a couple of players. Look at Trossard, for example.
Yeah.
Where he's come from, what the stakes were in his previous team in the Premier League, what the stakes were compared to what the stakes are now at Arsenal. He's like, I'm in a team that's just got through to the next round of the Champions League, and in the 8 games leading up to that, we ain't lost one. That's the team that I'm in. That's the team that I play for.
Yeah.
And don't
That must
forget,
give
he
you
was
that must give you some sort of, that must big you up and make you think like, I want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to be that blip
Yeah.
in the road. I want to, you know.
and he
It's
was
second
he
life.
was he was so pissed off about the playing time. He was looking for a move last winter, and now he's tied for the top scorer in the league for it.
No, he wasn't necessarily looking for a move. We ended up rewarding him by giving him a pay rise and not even extending his contract to tie him down. We just bumped up his money.
Somebody
And he's,
offered him
and
a
he's responded
contract.
in kind. I like the way he hasn't just gone cheers and put his feet up. He's 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 earning it.
Yeah.
Next in 2027 is when he gets it. It was he got it, but it's deferred. That money's deferred until 2027, which he probably won't be there.
Was there? So the window just closed, right? Was there any thoughts that maybe we would try to get a player to cover Mikel Marino
There was some
injury?
talk, wasn't there? They were talking about, apparently we made a late inquiry for Tonali.
Yeah,
I
which
think
would
it
have
might
been
have
over
been,
100 million, and
yeah,
that would have
Newcastle
been
said 100 million, and I still went,
no, it's a little bit too hot,
But what did
right?
what did I expect him to say? Here you go, just have his brother as well. Here you go.
They made us an offer that we would refuse.
But
They made us an
but
offer we would refuse.
I would have still been looking for a winger and looking for a left back since we can't seem to keep a
Yep.
healthy
Well,
starting left back.
I don't know if I want to upset the apple cart at the moment. I've said it many times. I always go back to that season where Newcastle looked like that they were going to win their league title over Man United, and then when they bought Tino Espria, it just really seemed to unbalance everything. Even though Tino Espria is a quality player, right? A quality player who any team would want to buy. That addition, it just seemed to unbalance it all. And I think that we now have got that unit. Do you know what I mean? We've got to do, we've got more than we've had before. We've always been a little bit short. Let's not overbloat it. Do you know what I mean? Let's maybe, look in the summer, depending on what happens and all of that. But for now, it really looks like that the team are doing it for each other. You see what it means to them, the way that they are with each other. Let's not tamper with that right now. We're quite covered in every area, aren't we? We're managing to be covered, right? So let's not, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Basically, right now for me, on this last 14 games.
Yeah, 100%. Here, we're talking about some of the options we do have, and I talked about Trossard, Martinelli, Eze, Rice, Havertz, who could play in Mourinho's area. But you guys
You
are gonna
said it yourself earlier, right? Getting Havertz and Jesus back were like having two brand new signings.
Yeah, Havertz.
So there you go.
Jesus, yeah, two brand new signings who could probably spark something until the end of the season.
We just played a year without them, right? A year without them.
Is he beating somebody up? Or?
It is like two additions, right? Because we managed to go over the last year without their services.
Yeah.
So
you guys are going to fling Skelly from pillar to post when you already got Norgard, who's been played out of position to accommodate Marino. You guys didn't need a ton of. Yeah, we have options. I love that.
I agree.
There he is.
Don't get me wrong. Love Sandro Tonali, but again, exactly what I'm saying is about upsetting the equilibrium. Upsetting the apple cart. We've got exactly. We have enough to cover in these eventualities. Let's not overblow it now by bringing in an outsider. Do you know what I mean? Now.
Yeah, there is one player we cannot cover, and that's Declan Rice. You know the captaincy shouts are getting a little bit, just a little bit louder and louder when it comes to Declan Rice. They're saying like, look at this. He acts and comports himself like a captain. Dishing out bollockings to everybody if they're
We
not
have
doing
won
their
games
job.
about him, though.
Huh?
We have won games about him.
Yes.
And what I mean is, we can afford to rest him. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. If he's out injured for 6 months, we're definitely feeling that, man. No doubt about it. But I think we are in a good place where we can be a little bit cute in certain times, and we can rest him for some games, and we've done that, and we've come through it. Same with Saka. The biggest complaint was that we was literally running the boy into the ground, and now I've started to notice that with the addition of Madueke, we paid quite a lot of money for. Let's have it right.
50.
50 million is a lot of money. 50 point whatever it might have been. But he's not afraid to take Saka out and give him a breather where he wasn't getting it before. And now that Saka had that twang, the place is now for Madueke to control that until he's back.
Yeah.
So, but we've also seen that he's not shying, of changing it around mid-game, and I've seen Martinelli over on the right-hand side. So, think of
Hey, listen. Here we are about to embark on a February, and we're still in 4 competitions. So it's happy days. It's great, you know. Just beating Leeds 4-0, combined with unbelievable that on Sunday both Aston Villa and Man City failed to win their game. Arsenal extend their points at the front to 6 points over Man City and 7 points over Aston Villa. Now look at the fixtures. Let's go into the fixtures on this weekend. We have a home game against Sunderland.
One thing before you move on, Ray.
Yeah.
We couldn't beat our record this year because we went 3 years in a row beating a record of the earliest we were out of both domestic cups. But since this one was in February,
Unwanted record,
Yeah, we buried that thing. So now we're chasing.
We have a couple of quick fire Premier League games coming up. We got Sunderland on Saturday, and we go away to Brentford, I believe it is, on Thursday. So the next time we might be talking. Go ahead, Sam.
Am I right in saying that we've only lost one game at home this season, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So if someone, when I hear something like that, that puts me in good stead against Sunderland. And again, Sunderland, they're a team that have come up, but they've had a go at some teams as well. They had a go at us previously, right?
I feel like
they can give a good account of themselves, but I'd like to think that we will put that shit to rest from the last game that we played against them, and put them to the sword a little bit at home.
Yeah, and BX says Liverpool could do us a favor if they take points from City on the Sunday. So it could be a nice. Listen, I don't want to start talking up points yet, but it could be another nice weekend for us. And if the gap stretches again, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Liverpool could beat Man City at Anfield. Especially the way Man City been playing.
And what would that be? The 4th straight weekend, and we only took advantage of it once so far.
You're half empty. The glass is always half empty with you, man.
I'm not. I'm just saying they're all struggling, but we only got one good result out of it, beating the shit out of Leeds.
Yes, yeah, they are all struggling. You know,
I mean, it could have been put to bed if we did good those other two games.
coming out of that Man City, coming out of that Man United defeat last Sunday, I said we have to win our next 3 games. We have to beat Leeds United away from home. We have to beat Brentford, and we have to beat Sunderland at home. Before that North London derby, nothing less than 9 points would be deemed um, appropriate. You know.
We're playing that early game, right? So anything other than a win doesn't put pressure onto City, right? That's what you're saying. You're saying, okay, now over to you. Now over to you. We've now got our feet up with a beer and we're watching what you're going to do. And it just seemed that over the last few years, it seemed that there were many times that we were in that position where we had to follow up on City. And City would get playing in it. And it was up to Arsenal and we would like maybe buckle in a game or two. And maybe now, the way that the fixtures appear and the way that the league is, it seems that we're getting a lot of the earlier games, right? And it's City that have had to come on with the pressure. And maybe like 2 times out of 3 times, it's worked in our favour.
I think it's a consequence of the fixtures, the league fixtures. So we in the first half of the season we played a lot of big teams away from home. So we were the big building on Sunday. We were the big game on Sunday, because as Arsenal faced Liverpool and Anfield and Newcastle, all of that, whilst Man City were playing the lower league teams on the Saturday. Now Arsenal have taken care of most of the big fixtures. They have to now face the smaller teams like Sunderland. It just happens that the fixtures thrown up Man City at Liverpool, so they're the ones who are going to have to play on a Sunday because of the TV. TV's just picked that one.
At the halfway mark of a season, we had the most home games left of anybody.
Yeah. So BX is right. Liverpool could do us a favor if they can take points from City. The way City's been playing, I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility as well. You know.
I felt that way last year towards them too, though. But it's worse this year.
Towards Liverpool?
No, to City, that teams could get at them.
Yeah, I think they were really a bad team last season. Now, Pep has bought a few players and supplemented them. You know, Donnarumma's an improvement. Cherky's an improvement. Skelly, with 4 years left on his contract, won't be out of reach for the Big Six. Extending his stay didn't necessarily mean protecting his value, in my opinion. I think that players, if they want to move, they're going to get their move at the end of the day. I didn't think Alexander Isak would. I was one of the few who didn't think Alexander Isak would go to Liverpool on the final day. Well, it happened. You know, I think Gary, I was wrong, and Gary was right. See there, Gary, I said it. Hope you're still listening. Pep has never won at Anfield. Haaland has never scored at Anfield. Liverpool have been brilliant.
Do you like how people were spelling his name? ISUC.
I like that. That's good. When the human psyche's put to work for the right reasons, they can produce wonderful things. The intelligence that we have. Instead of Isaac, you go Isaac. Draw points to West Ham and Villa one season, derailed your title race once. I think dropping points at Forest and United.
Come on, all 3 of us love puns, Ray.
Sense of deja vu. Indeed. I'm expecting a draw at Anfield.
We put Aston Villa to rest this season, right?
We did.
We got our own on them.
Don't tell Tony that he's got a soft patch for the villains.
No, I
We've got
like
2
it,
games in
Murray.
hand, right? 14 games to go.
Yeah.
At the end of this weekend, if results go our way, we could be 3 games in hand, right?
Yep.
And then it's really difficult
Wow.
because
Yeah.
that gives us leeway, because I think that even if Arsenal lose a couple of games, Man City look vulnerable of losing games as well. I
Yeah.
don't think that Man City are going to go ironclad now for the rest of the 14 games. They're not going
No.
to lose games. I don't see it.
No.
From what I've seen
I
of
don't
Man
either.
City in the past to now, what I'm seeing this season, to me, they just look more vulnerable to continue to lose games. But we
Yeah.
already have 2 games in hand, right? And if we got a third one in hand, that would give us a real cushion. What I'm saying is, that's what I'm thinking. And this is the first time under Mikel Arteta that I have felt confident, or sorry, more optimistic that we've got a chance. Because I think
Not confident.
even though I have to reel it back in, right? I have to reel it in. Because I know that Gabriel, I know that Marcotti out there who he said I look like Johnny Rotten, but I usually get Gus Frings out of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
on the street. I don't see it.
Right.
And the other one that I've got is Jeff Goldblum from Rosie. So Johnny Rotten has been added to the pantheon of the double jobs that I could do.
Oh my God, Johnny Rotten.
Yeah, Johnny Rotten. But I just feel that Man City this season are more vulnerable than they've ever been, right?
Yes.
And they're dropping points. They're not using. Haaland is being benched.
They must be.
There's all that talk about Pep might be leaving at the end. The players.
They must have been in despair.
Bernardo Silva's leaving at the end of the season. He's already going,
Yeah.
right? His mind's elsewhere. He's won loads of trophies. Rodri's come back from injury. Doesn't look like the same sort of player. Having to play O'Reilly in the midfield. He's a defender. Ait-Nouri is a defender that doesn't want to defend. He wants to attack. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that as much as they look better than us going forward at times, our superpower is defence.
Yeah.
We've only lost one game at home this season.
Right.
So far.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We're going away. We're going away in Europe into some big stadiums, right? And we're giving a good account of ourselves. We're not like a deer in headlights. A couple of seasons ago with some of these players, I remember us going away. I can't remember where it was. Was it PSV? No, not PSV. I can't remember where it was, but they came out and it was a game where Declan Rice got booked really early. And I was like, I look so nervous.
Maybe Porto. I think it was Porto.
Porto, that's right.
Porto.
And I remember thinking to myself, they're not ready for this yet.
Yeah.
I can see that they're overawed a little bit. Declan Rice picked up a really early yellow. I think they've gone past that stage.
And it was a very long-range shot that went over the arms.
They've gone to so many bigger stadiums now together and had results. They don't fear that anymore. And that's something that takes a bit of time. And we've already got that.
Yeah. Stan, you're top 5 in the league. Who's going to finish in the top 5? 3 is easy, right? 3 of them are easy enough.
Man United seem to be creeping up under Carrick. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah. Are you putting them forward?
Let me have a look at the table.
It's quite congested.
12 points between Man United and Crystal Palace.
Again, with Aston Villa as well. You know, Aston Villa can play some really nice football, but again, they are suspect defensively and losing some games, right? It's just something that we have more of an edge on when it comes to the defensive side. We seem to have like more of an edge. And also as well, we're able to use a lot more strings to our bow. We're able to get a lot more out of set pieces than a lot of the other teams.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes
Which
to
is a part
corners,
of the game.
when it comes to free kicks, for example,
It's
we are
part of the
able
game.
to get a lot. We're able to like extract everything that we can. And people want to laugh about OG being, the second highest goal scorer,
Yeah.
but it all counts at the end of the day. You know what I mean? If we're able to dust off our double-decker bus and take the ride holding up a trophy or trophies, no one's going to give a fuck about how many set pieces we used to get us there. Do you know what I mean? Our name will be etched in trophies, and that's all it is. But I think it's that we're able to like use every. They say it's a game of fine margins, right? They say, oh, it's such a game. It's fine margins. We're narrowing the margin by being able to utilize those facets of the game. And you've got to take your hat off to Arteta and the training staff and the coaches for being able to do that. If the commentator wants to laugh and go, oh, look at the set piece coach getting in the box and waving his arms around, laugh. Because invariably it's leading to a fucking goal, you numpty. And goals are the biggest commodity in the game. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we can finish. Doesn't mean we're going to win it, because it doesn't mean that if you finish top in the Champions League at this round, you're going to win it. But the way that we've won it without losing any games, which means that any other team coming to play Arsenal, they know they're in for a game. They're fearing it because we've got a reputation behind us. Look at Bayern Munich on that incredible run of 18 games.
Yeah.
In all competitions. Quash that shit. We quash that shit right out. That's what we're doing. But like Randy Orton, mate, we're fucking killing legends. That's what we're doing. So
we're now
that's all good for the aura. And when you're listening to like games that we win, and even games when you think that we play badly, and you listen to the other team talking about us, a lot of the time they go, "Yeah, they're one of the best teams that we've played. They're one of the best teams out there." The people that play the game, they recognise what it is that we're doing. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's always stylistic, but it is a results game at the end of the day, right? You know? So, yeah. I just think it's a good place to be at the moment.
Yep.
Anyone?
It's where you want to be at this time of year.
Yeah. In position.
February is a short month, but it usually has quite a bit of games packed into it.
Yeah. Arsenal, City, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Man United, probably good shouts there. That
And
keeps
there's
Chelsea.
only a point between Chelsea and Man United, right?
Yeah.
And then there's only a point between Chelsea and Liverpool. So that's quite tight between Liverpool and Man United. There's movement, right? There could be movement.
That's a race that's 14 games to go.
And it's funny, isn't it? Because they're like three of the most erratic teams at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they can go win 8 in a row or go out there and lose 3 and draw 2.
Or be 2-0 up and end the game 2-2.
Villa could drop off. Sunderland could be an outside bet.
These
are the type of teams that could give us, if we drew them in the FA Cup in a sixth round or a quarterfinal or a semi-final, it could give us a tough game.
Do you guys like the league this chaotic?
Do we like what? The league?
The league, yeah, this chaotic where everybody's so close together between
that's a very good question, Tony.
4th and 16th, there are only 12 points in there, and there'll be a lot of shuffling around in there.
I think I think the Premier League has normalized again after years of Man City being intoxicated with funds and pumping their bench
Have you
So
seen
high.
one of those charts they do where they do all the teams and their position?
Yeah,
It's nice to just see us in a straight line, not a roller coaster like Ray likes.
yeah,
But
yeah. So listen, I'm in favor of the way the Premier League looks right now because the team that Manchester United team that won leagues in the 90s and 2000s, those leagues were decided in the 80s. The points total were in the 80s. When we won the Premier League, it was in the 80s. Well,
eh,
we got
eh,
9
eh,
points that year.
and just look at our first year out of a Champions League at a what was it, 24 straight years is we had 75 points,
Yeah,
which was always been good enough to get you top four.
I mean,
We
Liverpool
didn't make it.
fans, Liverpool fans will tell you they got something like 97 points, 93 points, and 97 points, and didn't win the league based off of that, and that's what Man City did to them 10 years ago, in the last 10 years. Sunderland not good enough away from home. Same problem Newcastle have had for 3 seasons. I happen to believe Sunderland have had a very good start or first half of the season. They might start to sputter a little bit. It's natural. It's only natural that they're going to find where we all think that they may settle 10, 11, 12. They'll probably finish up.
Let me answer Tony's question about the
Yeah.
that what he said about the league. And for me, I'm like those teams in those positions. I'm like I don't really care about them. I'm like squabble for those points, do whatever you want. Because my attention is like seconds or above.
Loftier heights.
Yeah, that for me, I'm not worrying about them days are over. That's up to them. That's
That was
down to them.
us.
We shouldn't
5
be in
years
that
ago.
fight. That we should no longer be in. We shouldn't be in that fight no more.
No.
That's way distance in your rearview mirror, way
Yeah.
back there.
And do you know what? When
We've got bigger
we
fish to fight, Tony. Much bigger fish.
Stan and Tony haven't been there 4 or 5 years ago, we now recognize how much better we are and what it took to be better.
I'm like, whoo! I'm glad all that shit's gone. Wrestling to get into the top four. That's the way you're trying to head to get into that top four.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember that.
Now,
Tony will.
that has to be a given. It's above and beyond now. Finals.
Tony will remind us the last two. Remember
Our
we
14 fucking draws.
We had to go to Tottenham and win, and we lost to Tottenham. Then we had to go to Newcastle and win, and we lost to Newcastle. The last 3 games of the season. We get into the top 4. We missed out on top 4.
Two separate times, Ray. We had one was a 78% chance to finish top 4.
Stato.
Then there was 76 points.
There was a guy that used to call us Stato. Remember Stato?
Yeah.
I think he became a commentator. But Tony, you remind me of Stato. He had all the statisticians.
I like stats. That's why I like Squawka. That's a good thing to follow is Squawka because they have all kinds of crazy stats.
Yeah, hot takes as well. Villa have bigger fish to fry in the Europa League. Forget them. City have a history of clawing points from behind to win the league. To count them out of the race is crazy. Swings and roundabouts. Yeah, but they're not the City. They're not the same City. They're a pale imitation of the City that were before. Listen, we're going to wind this down. Stan's food has got to be ready soon. I would think.
There's actually nothing cooking.
Nothing?
No.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What's the freezer look like? It looks bare.
Maybe it might be takeout tonight.
Well, you better get a wriggle on, you know?
Okay.
It's 8:15 p.m. your time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Stanza go have a kebab.
You're right, Tony. I think I will. Tony, do you know that you actually turned invisible? Are you aware of this?
The Invisible Man. There he is.
Oh, okay.
I love how I just like
Dematerialised.
pan in
The Invisible Ginger.
and it just
Did
follows
you
me.
pick? So Tony, did you pick the right hair color?
I don't know. This is like the third shade I
You look
did,
like
and this one
Maureen O'Hara right now.
it's like it looks like almost
Carol
copper.
Burnett. You're like Carol Burnett.
It's like copper. It's like I
You
just
look
got a
like
bunch of new pennies stacked on my
you
head.
look like copper member right now. Not gold member, copper member.
You could slip up and say cocker member there.
I could.
Two,
Uh,
two members there.
all right, listen, we'll get out of here pretty soon. Stan doesn't know what kind of takeout he's really
Yeah, he
gonna.
does. He's going right for a kebab.
Oh, I tell you a player that I'm really liking the look of as well is Hen Capio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what he's done? He's just settled in at left back.
Very good deal to get that guy.
He's not looked out of place.
To buy. Very good deal.
Yep. Andrea Berta, we like it a lot. We like it a lot, Andrea. You mean competitive winning away from home is exceptionally hard for everyone. Teams at home don't just
So
defend.
just
at home.
looking ahead at this next game though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's starting
Sunday.
in the midfield.
What's that?
Is Odegaard going to be fit enough to play that game or not?
He didn't make.
If he was, would you be picking him? Because
No, he didn't make. I think we're looking at a run with Havertz maybe in that position. Not Eze, not Odegaard, but Havertz.
But I think you forgo that position and you do what you did with Leeds and go for the 4-2-3-1 where you got your wingers back behind you and you got Havertz right behind your strikers. So.
Yeah.
Then you can have Gyökeres hold up for a second and have Havertz run into space and head it in or kick it in or however he scores goals.
Yeah. Micah said, I think Arsenal could wobble. We've won games where we haven't played well, but set pieces are the difference. Defense and 1-0, we've won it. You know,
Havertz has to be one of the most sporadic strikers I've ever seen. He's like hot or cold. You never know when it's coming.
Yeah. I think there's got to be a point in the season where we start taking up more goals than just 5. Imagine we are in February and our top goal scorer is got 6 in the Premier League. That's really spreading. That's really spreading goals around. And I said last Thursday night we're on pace to score a pretty low amount of goals, and we needed to score a lot at Leeds United. And we need to keep up scoring goals. I think we're going to come into one of those blasts of like where we win some games by 3 goals, an average of about 3 goals per game.
There should be a lot of 4-1 games coming up.
Yeah. Tiger and Gunnar, thanks for being here. Michael, thanks for being here as well. We're going to thrash Sunderland 4-0 revenge for the draw against them in the last game. Again, that's merciless. That is a merciless revenge mission, Tiger and Gunnar. You got no mercy for Sunderland. They have the temerity to take a point from us.
He's a member of Cobra Kai.
It becomes a one-off if Arteta doesn't show variety in the methods he used the best to beat teams.
We'll call him Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, right. That's You should never
It's
do
like
that.
anyone that says that, oh, your team is set pieces. Like if their team were doing it, would they like be petitioning the team saying, "Can you please, dear
Yeah.
team, can you
But
please
but
stop
but
scoring goals by set
They'd love it.
pieces? We don't like it. You
but,
need to
but
score
it's
goals from open plays only, no more."
Yeah.
I know that we're sitting top
but
of the
it,
league. I know that we're in all 4 competitions, but please, 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 can you stop scoring goals by set pieces? Yours, you know what I mean? Oh,
but
P.S.
but
Same
but
goes for own goals.
but isn't it so weird, Stan, that I mean in the headlines all the time it's like blah 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 buys a throw-in coach, blah 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 signs a set piece coach. It's like everybody's going after these specialists.
I
Yeah.
just think that
And,
if this is what's
and,
leaving us,
and we don't even lead. I don't think we even lead the league in the set piece goals.
as I say, they're right. They say the game is fine margins, and if this is what leaving no stone unturned looks like, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I want to know that if we do lose whatever it is, that at least we did the best that we could, and how do we improve? I don't want to leave. I don't want to be going, oh, was it because of this or was it because of that? You know,
No.
it seems to me that
We're winning it.
everyone's trying to cover every base, and I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Tiger and Gunner says it's lunchtime where he's at. Just 15 minutes past noon.
I think
Stan's
one
getting
of the
hungry. Stan's getting hungry. It's 20 after 8 uh, on the West Coast.
one of the best things we did, Ray, and that went under the radar,
Yeah.
is getting a new throw-in coach. Because all the foul throw-ins we had,
Yeah.
terrible, and now we're getting the
Liverpool.
long distance ones in
It's
there.
funny. Liverpool started that. It's funny. Liverpool started that stuff, and that was really the start of set pieces coming into the Premier League, and they're the ones who are criticizing it. Um, Arsenal will beat Sunderland. So Tony, give us your outro, and we'll get out of here.
Outro.
Yeah.
Enjoy this while it happens. Sports is full of
Yeah.
highs and lows and waves, and we've been waiting 20 years for this. Ever
Yeah.
since Lehman got the red card and we got the. I still want to do a watch along of that. I've never watched
All
it.
right.
I
I'll
I
we'll slot it in.
I
You want to do a
I
watch along with
I
the Champions League final?
I found it on YouTube. I I think it would be interesting to just see us watch it
Yeah. You know
and
what?
the
I might.
reaction to some of those players.
I think I might do that. Yeah. I think it's a great point you made, Tony. Enjoy the journey. I've been saying it. Enjoy the journey. Just don't wait to the destination and enjoy the trophies. Have the
Yeah.
confidence that they're coming. And Stan, you've been sounding that board since about December. You feel confident more than ever about this team, and now they're
I
starting
don't want to use the word
to.
confident. I want to reel back confident. It's called, I'm using optimistic. I feel more optimistic than I have
Okay.
under this manager that there's trophies ahead. More optimistic about that.
Right.
And as I've said, and the main reason is because we have a bigger pool to choose from, where we've so many times we've got ourselves into good positions and we just don't have enough backup, enough quality backup. When you're playing in the semi-final of the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain and you're looking at the bench and you're thinking, I need to make a change here, and you've got like Cabia,
Cabby.
Harry Mananous maybe, like kids that are basically, the only reason those kids are there is
Simon.
it's better than having empty chairs because there is no one else.
Yeah.
You can't just have empty chairs on the camera shot, right? So you've got to fill it with someone. There's no way they're coming on, right? So you know what I mean? You're hamstrung before you've even got into it. And you can always see Mikel Arteta looking, thinking, I know I need to do something, but I can't throw these in. It's not, you know what I mean?
Not fair.
We are not in that position anymore.
Yeah.
We're not.
I got one more thing, right?
I'm saying that gives me more optimism.
Yeah. Here comes the cat, I think, Stan.
Yeah.
One more thing, right?
Yes,
it
Tony.
outro? Was it
For
outro?
for for for, for several
The
for
outro was-
several years,
It's over.
we
It's
would
over. Go home.
Outro become an intro.
As
for
Ferris
for
Bueller
for
says, it's over. Go home. Tony,
for for,
Outro,
sev-
man.
for several years
I'll
though.
allow it.
For several years, we kept wanting a director of football. We threw out all kinds of names. One was a former Arsenal player that wanted to send dick pics around, but we got somebody that went in there, did a lot of last minute business, got rid of Zinchenko, signed some extra players, and if it wasn't for Berta, I don't think we would be in this position.
No,
Really don't.
yeah. North London forever, Tony. 1, 2, 3, go. No, don't do it. All right, we're out of here. Tony, Stan, thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I,
Enjoy the journey.
I hate fucking Angel. I wish that would die
Stan does too.
a fiery
I
death.
listen.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but I can live with it. You know what I mean?
But
Stan hates it. Tony hates it.
I did. But do you remember it in Amazon? Because
Listen,
Adu was
shout out
like
to these guys.
Do
Tony,
you
Stan,
know what it is
shout
for
out to
me?
these
Do you know what it
guys.
is for me? I'll tell you what it is for me.
Yeah.
It's like someone came out with a song, sent it into Arsenal, and Arsenal went, "We'll take that." Instead of going, "Oh, so people want to make an
No.
Arsenal song. Let's
No,
like do a nationwide thing and see if there is one that is fucking better than this one." This really dreary song, but they just took the first one and that was it. It was like, so
but
okay.
but I can't remember if Adu like
Shout out to
heard
these
it.
guys who were with us at 4 o'clock in the morning.
But
So
that was a Adu
props
thing
to
because
you.
it showed it in a documentary. I don't know if he was at the club or somebody told him about it. But
All right.
anyway, it just it
3,
wasn't a natural thing,
2,
so that's why I never liked it.
1. We're
Time
out
to
of
bid
here.
adieu to Adu.
Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
We have to
Bid adieu.
literally cut Tony off this time. I remember podcasts, real quick, Stan. I remember podcasts where you get a yes or no answer out of Tony, and that would be it. He'd be looking to get
Long
an
time ago,
yes or
that
no.
was.
Long time ago. Good night, everybody. Get some sleep.
Night.
Get some rest. We got a big game on the weekend. Tony, say good night. Stan, say good night.
Nighty night. So glad you ditched
Let's say good night, Tony.